Good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining us for the second week of the 2025 Mideastern Athletic Conference weekly football coaches video conference presented by Wells Fargo. I'm Elise Scripter, Director of Strategic Communications for the MEAC, and I will serve as moderator and co-host of today's question and answer session. Before we begin, I would like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin with the MEAC notes featuring conference highlights, upcoming events, and weekly accolades. Afterwards, we will ask each head coach questions about the previous matchups, upcoming games, followed by questions from the media. To ask a question, simply click the raise hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. At this time, the MEAC notes will be brought to you by the Strategic Communications intern, Kylan Lewis. Go ahead, Kylan.
Thank you, Elise. And now it's time for some MEAC notes. The 2025 women's volleyball season opened up this past weekend, with reigning MEAC champion Delaware State posting a perfect 3-0 mark at Betty Austin Invitational. DSU swept all three of its opponents, Southern, Arkansas's Pine Bluff, and Alabama A&M in straight sets. Maryland Eastern Shore turned in a strong showing at the Hampton tournament, finishing 2-1 with wins over 2024 SWAC champion Florida A&M and host Hampton. Coppin State, Howard, Morgan, North Carolina Central, and South Carolina State each recorded one victory to start their campaigns, while Norfolk State faced a challenging slate against nationally ranked opponent, including number 16 Florida, UCF, UC Riverside, and UT Chattanooga. For cross country, 5 MEAC cross country programs, Delaware State, Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore, Norfolk State, and South Carolina State opened their seasons this past weekend. At the UMES Soaring Invitational, Norfolk State's Ian Kimuto claimed the individual title in the men's 5K with a time of 15:12, pacing the Spartans to a victory. Delaware State finished second in the event, followed by Morgan State third and UMES fourth. Delaware State's Marion Drazen plays runner-up with a time of 15:20, while the Spartans' Matthew Keepachek, Lewis Tu, and Jamil Green rounded out the top 5. South Carolina State finished fourth at the Charleston Southern Invitational, led by Andrew Latimer, while Howard's men's placed third at the Mount St. Mary's Duel. On the women's side, Norfolk State captured the team title at the UMES Invitational. The Spartans were led by junior Sonia Catch, who was the 4x2 race in 16:06, and teammate Abigail Chabet, who finished second with a time of 16:14. UMES placed second, Delaware State placed third, while Morgan State finished fourth. Elsewhere, South Carolina State's women finished fifth at the Charleston Southern Invitational. Howard women's claimed third at the Mount St. Mary's Duel, highlighted by Mira Martin's third place finish in the 5K with a time of 18:48. That's it for the MEAC notes. Back over to you, Elise.
Thank you, Kylan. And joining me this morning as co-host for today's call will be Mr. Lynn Thompson, Strategic Advisor for the Mideastern Athletic Conference. Lynn, thank you for joining us this morning. And without further ado, over to you.
Thank you so much, Elise, and good morning, everyone. As we prepare to take a look back at week 1 of MEAC football, we're going to start things off by going to the nation's capital, to the Mecca, as we have a conversation with our first head coach of the morning, Coach Larry Scott of the Howard Bison. Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good, good, Coach. You pulled out a thrilling win on Saturday with a 43-yard field goal on the buzzer in the Orange Blossom Classic. What's your take on the Bison's overall performance in such a dramatic finish?
I think you just said it. It was a dramatic finish. It was one that we knew we were going to be in a tight ball game. We checked the history of Florida A&M and Howard games. They've always come down to, a few point differential. I mean, even in the Celebration Bowl, we looked at it was 26-30. So it was a 4-point differential, trick play type of situation. So we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter ball game. We're going to come all the way down to the wire, and it literally came all the way down to seconds left in the game. And we had to operate a 2-minute drill and go into a snap hole kick and some of the things that we always work in the Thursday practice. And kind of was the sentiment on the sideline when we went out to that 2-minute drive. It was, hey, this is just like Thursday practice. All we got to do is go out, execute, get in the field goal range, and we believe in our kicker, and he finished it for us. And he did. So everything we went into the ball game knowing it would be, it literally became. So we were, kind of built for it, prepared for it, and just happy to come out on the winning side of it this time.
Coach, you certainly did. Coach, your defense held Florida A&M to just a 5 of 16 performance on third downs and recorded 3 sacks, while special teams ultimately secured the victory. How pleased were you with those units' execution, and what stood out most about their performance?
I think that's a really good question. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's complementary football. All 3 phases showing up when they needed to, how they needed to. And I got to commend our defensive staff, Coach Jared, the defensive staff, and those guys on defense. They did a heck of a job. They flew around all day. They played physical. They played with great poise and composure, something that we've really been talking about, focusing on in our program. And really did a really good job. And then in the kicking game, to come out day one, game one is where you make the difference up in games, and especially tight ball games. It's going to be the hidden yardage. And we kind of had to play with some poor field position, and the end of the first half, in the third quarter, and had some situations when you don't feel the punt. That's the kind of situations that put you in. But we kind of battled through that, and to be battle tested like that in game one, in a neutral site, against a really good opponent, a top 10 opponent, was going to be a stiff challenge. And with those areas and that you have to win in situational football, we talk about being situational masters and being masters of the situation and operating at a high level when it calls for those situations to come up. And this football team in game one did that. And it was kind of like the back end of training camp when you get into a bunch of situational football. So that was something that we worked really hard on going into the game. Red zone, third down, Mayday situations, 2-minute situations, and those things. And all that work paid off in that moment. So to see all 3 phases of it come together, just like you needed to win those type of games was great to see. It was really great to see as we continue to build off of as we move forward into the rest of the season.
Well, now you got an opportunity to look ahead to this week's matchup against Temple at the Lincoln Financial Field. What will you take from this weekend into this game, and what will you apply in order to come away with the win this coming week?
Yeah, the first thing we talked about on Sunday was have a sense of gratitude and appreciation for all the people and things that it takes to pick up our organization, move it all the way down to Miami flawlessly, and play that type of football game and finish it that way. So kudos to everyone in our organization, from support staff, sports medicine, strength and conditioning, all our coaches, their families, and everybody. It definitely took a team Howard effort, and our alums and fans that showed up. But this week we're going to need that support from our fans and our alumni to show up in Philadelphia for us, and those type of things. And I think it's going to take us just making sure that what we did wrong in this game, we won in that type of fashion, but we can't let the win mask the things that we must attack and improve on and get better at, especially to give ourselves a chance against an FBS opponent. So it's still, as cliche as it sounds, it's still about us making the corrections, doing the things that we need to do. Not about Temple, but, and again, we went back to the basics and talking about football being still about running, blocking, tackling, catching, right, and not beating yourselves. And if we can do that, we're going to and be competitive. I think we'll give ourselves a chance, and I feel real good about our chances this weekend.
The Bison, I want to know. Thanks so much, Coach Scott. That's it for me. Elise, over to you with additional questions from the media.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. Our first questions come from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Scott, good morning. Congrats on the big win. What I wanted to ask is, you guys held FAMU to 89 yards rushing. Now, coming in, they had Thad Franklin and also Bo Somerset, and then a couple of guys on that offensive line. Talk about what was the keys to you guys holding their running game down.
I think it's a byproduct of what we had in training camp. I mean, we really got after it physically up front. I said this was probably the most physical, competitive training camp we've had since I've been here, and we were able to do that just because of where we are depth-wise and with our numbers. We have 20 offensive linemen, 20 defensive linemen going into training camp. We were able to mix it up front a lot, without worrying about a lot of injury and setbacks and things like that. So we became a really physical, real stout defensive front. My backers are bigger than we've been before, bigger and physical. All of them are 230, 240 pounds. Athletic, can run, long and lean, and learn how to play with their leverage and all those type of things. So being able to, have that physical nature up front is what benefited us, I think, a lot. And again, our defensive staff did a heck of a job putting these guys in position. And they just went out and they played fast, they played physical. They live by a motto on defense around here. We do, and it's strike fear. And they went out and wanted to do that and reload and be able to do all those things that we talk about from a cultural standpoint of how we want to play defense, and that showed up on tape in this game. And the number one element is always to stop the run and make people have to beat you one way. We did a really good job of that.
And then lastly, Coach, on this last drive, the drive that led to the touchdown, the starter was the 3rd and 19 pass from Starks to Mosley from your own 16. You guys gained 46 yards in 30 seconds on beating the blitz. What did you guys see as an offensive staff on those final plays that led on that last drive that FAMU was showing you guys?
Yeah, they're playing real soft coverage, real playing high and soft over the top. And so we knew if we could get some, intermediate depth, routes across the middle into the middle of the field, we would give ourselves a chance. And because it also allows you to get the ball out your hand pretty quickly. So even though they were bringing some pressure in some of those situations, we just needed to hold up just a little bit there to get some of these routes into that deep intermediate area, some high-low situations. And when they started running guys out to take away the intermediate stuff, where, the ball went right to the check down, which is where it should go. And when you got who we believe is one of the special players in this league and in college football, and even James, my money's going to always be on him that he's going to make a single guy miss. He did that, 2 or 3 times, critical times in that drive, where he catch a check down, make a one-on-one guy miss, and go get a first down, which pauses the clock. So, again, that's his situational masters. There's a situation there where he could choose to run out of bounds or get the first down. And, he was able to get the first down, which pauses the clock, which, obviously gets us into a situation where we can get another play call in, which might have saved or made up for a little bit of time there in that drive. But those scenarios and situations are ones that we tried as best as we can to put them in during the week and the weeks of practice leading up to that. And these young men went out and executed, the vision of that to a T. So it was all on them, and they took advantage of what, the defense was giving them, and we were all in sync and all on the same page. And I'm gonna tell you, the advancement of college football is really taking things to another level with, coach to player, and you being able to talk to this guy all the way to there's 15 seconds left. So, kudos to the advancement in technology in college football as well.
Hey, thanks for the time, Coach, and good luck against Temple this week.
All right, thank you very much.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing, Coach Scott?
I'm doing well, James. How are you?
I'm blessed. Take us back to the importance of the kicking game to seal the deal, and you guys executed. Matt got it done.
Yeah, complimentary football, right? And everybody's job matters. Everybody wants to talk about Matt, which is a great kick. He had demonstrated it to us. I told the guys right before we went out, all right, we've already seen this movie, right? We've played this. This is a Netflix rollback. We've seen him do this in practice. We put him in situations like this under some pressure, as much pressure as we could induce during the practice setting. And seeing this guy do that before. So at that moment, I think everybody on the sideline had faith and had a confidence that this young man would make this kick. But a lot goes into that, right? The hold, the snap, the hold, the kick, all of those things. I don't want to talk about that, but our holder in that situation was a true freshman as well. He's a true freshman. He also was a true freshman punter in this game. So for a true freshman to be put in that situation as a holder and really secure the snap, get the ball down, lace it, spin, the whole thing, everything had to work out, for that to happen. And so the kicking game is very imperable. Everything in our program is built around it. They eat first. We practice that first. We walk through that first. We do everything, and special teams take the lead. So if you want to be a special team, you better be special on special teams. So something we really, really, work hard on, especially this year, because we know it could be the difference in some of these ball games.
Coach, week 2, next stop, up 95, up to Philly. Talk about going in to see Temple, and you want to make your biggest jump from week 1 to week 2. What do you want to clean up? And just talk a little bit about Temple.
I think just our level of execution, where, there's a lot of ambiguity again in game 1s and game 2s. We're going into another game where it's a new staff. Coordinators coming from one place on defense. He's coming from Rice. The offensive coordinator's coming from Montana State. The head coach was at Sam Houston. So there's a lot of different identities and schemes and things coming together again. And all you have is a one-game sample of those guys being together, which was last week. So you're kind of incorporating, where they were in the past, what they've done in one game, and using all the resources out there that you can to gather as much as you can to put your players in the best position as you build a plan. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to, man, us versus them, our will to run, our will to tackle, our will to cover, our will to make blocks, our will to just, catch the football, secure the football, take care of the football. So it's still about the basics. And those are the things that we really want to focus on and make sure that we're working hard day in and day out to be brilliant in. Because at the end of the day, the scheme and all those type of things don't matter. But how you play the game is what we're really most interested in. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, and who you are, and your habits and those things. So we just want to make sure we're improving daily and in our practice on doing basic things brilliantly. And if we can do that, we'll always, 9 times out of 10, put ourselves in chance to be successful and won't beat ourselves. So that's really what's more important as we get ready for this game, is to align ourselves with those things.
Good luck in week 2, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Pretty good. You mentioned the kick, but just talk about that pressure on a kid that's transferring from Division II Chowan to be able to step into the spotlight. And that kick was dead center. I was watching on TV. It just looked, as soon as he left his foot, I said, "Oh, that's good." Just how exciting is it for that young man and your entire team to have that moment against the team that has given you guys fits in recent years?
Man, again, it's always good to win, right? It's always good to win. And I think as much as you can, you try to put, your team in situations like that so that there's a level of confidence, a level of faith, a level of trust in that. And I think, garnered the 2-minute drive for guys to play hard, to put them in that position is because they believed that we had a kicker that once we got into a certain area that, we could win the game. So having that, put them in that situation and scenario and practices, and we had him kick for sprints. So if he didn't make kicks, the team would have to run. Chanting, throwing water all over. We've tried to induce every sense of stress that we could on the kicker in a practice setting. But again, that's practice. But when you walk into an NFL stadium, a beautiful venue like Hard Rock Stadium is, and you're under the lights and the ESPN cameras are on, you kind of still saying, okay, what are we going to get? But from what we've had, we had true faith and a lot of confidence in Matt, and our holder and our snapper and our protection that we will be able to get this done. And he went out there and did it. So and when you have that type of guy in your program, and I've been around some pretty good kickers, and Evan McPherson's and those guys of the world when it was at Florida, and they're kind of built different, and they kind of got that kind of ice water kind of in their veins. This is something that, you run into one of those guys, you got something pretty special. And this guy kind of, reminds you a lot of that.
Tyreek Starks, his first collegiate start at quarterback, you're entrusting him with the 2-minute drill. And aside from the sack that he took, he was pretty much on the money. Just how much confidence does that inspire, not just in his teammates, but in you as a coaching staff, to know that you got a kid that is cool under pressure and can make the plays with his arm and his leg?
Okay, I'll tell you what he won't do again. He won't take a sack in 2 minutes again. Let's start there. Let's start right there. But yeah, very, very impressed. And I think to the naked eye, a lot of people are going to look at the stat line and go, well, when you turn on his tape and watch some of the throws he did make under some of the duress and pressure with people breathing down his neck, standing right in front of his face, to rip a 18-yard dig from one hash to the opposite hash with a guy breathing down your neck is a pretty impressive deal to watch on tape. When you watch him operate with the poise and control that he did, like you said, I don't care how you cut it. A guy could be 22, a guy could be 21, but if he's in his first collegiate start, it still comes with the same amount of nerves as whether you're 18 and been doing it or you're 22 and doing it. So for him to do that in his first collegiate start and play with the type of control and game management and all those type of things in that situation was pretty impressive. And that's something that we definitely can build on, because there's a lot to improve on for him this week. But he's that kind of guy. He was the first one in here on Sunday, ready to, get to it and make those corrections. So he's eager, he's hungry to get better. He's leading, true team leader on both sides of the ball for us. So really impressed with, where he is, but going to be exciting to watch him continue to progress as we move through the season.
And my last question is kind of like an extension of that. You had a lot of different guys show up on offense on that drive. Of course, Eden had a big catch. Mosley, catching that bullet across the middle on 3rd and 19. And just having them and Neely, the freshman, catching the touchdown early on. Just when you have that sort of balance and depth, just how much easier does that make your job as coaches to just dial up the right plays and know that your guys are going to connect? It just might be a different guy, a different play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to build faith and confidence in the quarterback and the guys around you. And we talked yesterday, I told the guys, I said, hey, listen, we had 7 guys on the offense who hadn't played in a collegiate football game, right? They've been impressive in practice and made some plays. You're talking about 3 true freshmen. You're talking about a quarterback that hadn't played, and so you had a lot of guys out there that hadn't played in a college football game. So we're excited about, what we have coming as we continue to build with this team. And it just speaks to, again, some of the depth that we've been able to build, especially, like I said, up front on the offensive line. But we have a stable of backs that have the ability to do it. We have young receivers and tight ends that can do it. And I think we have a quarterback that can, get some things done for us on the center. So we just got to keep getting better offensively. I know our stat lines don't read too, how good we want to be. Obviously, we want to go out and have better outings, but to come out and play against a pretty stingy defense that FAMU was, and kind of really not knowing what you're going to get, and some of the schematics that you've studied and watched on tape weren't what you got in the game, with them being a new staff and kind of a guy who had been not calling it for a long time. They came out and they were really aggressive, a lot of pressure. They have the athletes running around when that team can run. That's a football team that can run, and we were able to match some of that physicality and speed, which gave us a chance. So that wasn't a slouch football team that we just had a chance to play against. And so we can take that as our ground floor and continue to build and get better. I think we're going to give ourselves a pretty good chance here as we keep going.
Thanks for your time as always, Coach. Best of luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Good morning, Coach Scott.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be on the call this week. I was able to make the time work. I do want to be respectful of your time and my colleagues' time. So I have one question. It seems the theme of the day is the special team. So I'll go back, but I'll go from this perspective. In the 3rd quarter with 2:31, you ever get a blocked field goal, which ultimately allowed you to be in position to kick the winning field goal late in the game that many people have talked about. What did you see on that block that allowed the Bison to be able to get in there and get it done?
The true spirit of what this football team is, how it's been built, and what, the belief that, when we do things the right way and who we are, our identities show up. And that, I think that was the epitome of what the identity of this program is right now. It's never over. We're going to strain. We're going to fight for everything that we get. We close Thursday practice out with a very competitive, 2-minute period where we're fiercely competing to win and lose a game. And these guys are just they weren't going to be denied. And I think that was kind of the epitome of the identity of what we're building here and have been building. And it's been a 5-year process. And kind of, I like where we are. And like I said, if that's the ground floor for what we're able to do, and it has to be the ground floor for what we're able to do, I'll feel good about our chances as we continue to take this on a week-by-week journey.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. And again, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Our next questions from Coach Scott come from Nathaniel Henry Jr.
Good morning, Coach Scott. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Nate. How are you?
Great. Nathaniel Henry, Howard University Sports Media. I just have one question, since most of the questions that I initially has been answered. How do you feel about your young players first time being in that kind of environment against a top-notch team from the MEAC? What is your takeaway from their play?
Yeah, especially coming out of the SWAC, you say this as a coach because what we've done is recruited well here. We've been able to do it to our brand and how we do things. And some of these young guys had to just wait their turn. We had some good players, like you see a Zuri Watson emerge, but we know Zuri Watson's been a talented player for a while. He's young and he played behind a Robert Jones, right? You know, we knew that the baby brother Caleb Gallup was going to be a good player, but he was behind, you know, Xavier Rubio and played behind his brother. So it's just been time for some of the young talented players that we've recruited that, you know what, have stayed in the program, have stayed with it and gotten bigger, stronger, and faster, and allowed true process and development to supersede, you know, the selfishness of wanting to transfer or feel like they can go find it and do it somewhere else when they understand the blessing is the opportunity here that they have at Howard from a holistic standpoint, because it's bigger than ball. And they wait their turn and they develop and they grow. And when they get the opportunity, they seize the moment. So it was fun to watch some of these young, talented players who are doing it the right way have their moment to show what what they're all about and what they're capable of. So it was fun to watch, man, and I'll look forward to watching them week in and week out and daily as we continue down this 25 journey.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Ray Rogers.
What's up, Coach?
Ray, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you, sir.
All right, for the second time, I got two quick questions. First one is about clock management as you look forward to, your upcoming matchup against Temple. At the end of that first half, you gave Fam the ball back. They didn't have any timeouts. I think you gave it back to him with a little over a minute. And Jay Walker on the broadcast kind of showed his colors. He said, you can't do that. They don't have no timeouts. Run some more clock out. Is that something that you've been looking at to work on this upcoming week in terms of like clock management?
Yeah, you look at every aspect of it, right? All of those things, and you try to run it out, but also there's a message that you send to your football team too as well, right? We're going to be aggressive, and every opportunity is an opportunity. And so, yeah, you can truly take the ball and sit on it and waste some time and do all of those things, but you can also look up there and go, I got 1 minute and 59 seconds, and I have explosive playmakers that all we need is one crease. All we need is one throw and catch, and you change the game also. So it just depends on, your mentality, your aspect, how you feel the game, and more importantly, what you want your players to feel. So it's nice and easy sometimes to sit in an air-conditioned, booth and call a game and say what you would do, but come stand on the sidelines with a headset on and the humidity and the sweat with a football team that's looking at you eagerly and hungrily, ready to go play football. So it's a balance, and there's no doubt about that. And you want to look at everything judgmentally, and I always start with myself, not the young men that are playing football. We look at the adults, or look at us. I look at some of my choices and decisions and what we did I meet with the defensive staff, I meet with the offensive staff, I meet with special teams, and take a hard look and examine everything. Sure, you can go back and look at that and say, hey, we don't give them back the ball, but I don't think that resulted in anything for them either. So there you go. So I mean, you can say that before, but did the result hurt you? No. Can you learn from it? Absolutely. And we will, and that may be a different decision, a different game based on the sequence of that game, that a different decision may be made. But then again, a Coach Scott coach team is always going to stay aggressive, is always going to stay, because that's the sentiment of how you build a team. We're never going to lay back and wait for things to happen. We're going to try to go force the issue and make things happen.
All right, last thing, Eden, you already mentioned the big plays he made then, but he was a little banged up. How much did you know about his health at that point, and talk about his toughness and what you expect moving forward, because he apparently was injured, right?
He's now, injury, coming off of an injury. So he kind of just getting himself back into game plan shape and doing all those type of things. So we wanted to put him in, situations where we knew his veteran presence would be felt. And down the stretch, just felt like in a game, even a 80 to 85% healthy Eden James was going to show up in that situation, because he wants to win. And just his knowledge and experience in the game in those situations, it showed up. He knew he'd be one-on-one, and I don't think that guy still has tackled him today. So he did what he needed to do to help us win the game, and that's what you hope you get from your veteran players when they're But once he gets back fully healthy, I think a lot of people know what he's capable of doing, and so we're just managing that and playing that out as we needed to. But when we needed to go to his veteran presence and what he's capable of doing, he showed up and helped us win the game.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Daryl Duvall.
Maybe he's muted. There you go.
Yeah, I was. Coach, can you hear me? Can you hear me,
I
Coach?
can hear you. Yep.
Hey man, I just want to say congratulations on your win with Florida A&M. Y'all did a good job. I just have one question. Who in your roster just showed you something encouraging? And I know you talked about this a little bit in the matchup that you could lean on forward going through other games from this season.
I think the ability to play as many guys as we played on our front seven on defense, to roll, 8 different defensive linemen and play 4 different, 4 linebackers, and you're playing 12 guys on your defensive front and only give up 95 yards, 95 yards rushing to a really good opponent says a lot. So I was most impressed with our front seven being able, being able to keep guys fresh, play a boatload of guys, and feel like there's no drop off. And there really isn't. So we refer to a lot of those guys and then play, 3 different nickels and 2 different corners and 2 different safeties. So to play as many guys as we were able to play on defense and then, basically really do the same on offense. We were able to play a lot of guys, and we wanted to going into that type of situation with the humidity and heat but we've also been able to close the ranks on depth and not feel like there's no drop off between what we deem your 1s and your 2s. And I said this, the minute we get around here to where we're 1A, 1B type situation and type of program, we're going to always put ourselves in position to have success. And we've narrowed the gap and closed the gap with being able to do that. So that's what I was most impressed with, is the amount of guys we were able to play and not let the standard down of what we expect from anybody that's got a uniform on and out there playing football for Howard.
I just want to say thank you for that, and I look forward to seeing y'all this coming weekend.
All right, appreciate it, Darryl.
No problem.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you?
Good morning, Dwayne. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You've talked about a little bit earlier today, your training camp leading up to the season and how rigorous it was. I have to ask, what was it about Tariq that you saw during training camp that led him to getting the starting nod this week? And will he be the ongoing starter for the rest of the season?
I'll start with the back part of that. Yes, he will be our ongoing starter for the rest of the season. And really, what makes you feel good, because now you had a quarterback battle between him and DeSean Stroggins, who was, your starter last year. And Tyree came in here and just did a really good job. Both guys have really done a really good job in camp, though, because Stroggins made a lot of improvements and really came along. And so, you have 2 capable guys. You have 2 guys that are capable of going in and winning football games for you. And then that's a luxury in college football now these days. So feel really good about both of them. But, I think Tyreek's mental and physical toughness, his ability to be a natural leader and demand, that type of, approach from not just the offensive side of the ball, but defense. He came in and made his presence felt very early on, wasn't shy about it. He's a young man that's here on a mission. He wants to win, and he knows how to, bring people along with him. The team gravitated to him and gravitated to his voice and how he led and how he worked and what it meant to him. And that's kind of become infectious throughout our program and throughout our team. And when you have someone come in and able to demonstrate that type of leadership and not shy about it right off the rip, and they're following him, you're going to give yourself a chance, at least for true alignment and guys playing together and playing for each other. So I think his just ability to do that and lead, and obviously his talent level and his arm strength and being able to make all the throws and his ability to run and all those type of things, his physical characteristics spoke for themselves. But I think the part that we needed and that has kind of helped push the whole battle over the hump was his uncanny natural leadership ability, which is something that you can't pay for well, a lot of people are paying for it in college football nowadays. However, it's something that's invaluable for us as we continue to build. So he will be our quarterback here moving forward.
Okay. Also, your victory on Saturday, not only was it the program's first win, opening season win, dating back to 2017, it was also your first win since you've gotten to Howard. Is that something that could be inspirational for you leading the team throughout the rest of the season?
We want to win all the time. I guess, if people want to have some fun with, stats and different things like that, that's some good research and you can pull it out, sure. We can go back as far as this first time we got on a plane since I've been here and went somewhere and won because we flew. I don't know. You can do all the fun things you want to do with it. The object is to win. And every time you get a chance to go out and play football, man, you want to win. And so, yeah, unfortunately, we hadn't done that in an opening game. We've come close to playing some other, FBS opponents and different things like that. Eastern Michigan a few years ago came really close to iron the wire and all those things. Didn't get it done. So it's always fun to win. And so however you do that, whenever that game is, game 3, game 4, game 5, game 88, doesn't matter when. So that's just want to win. So you guys can have fun with the rest of it.
Coach, you should know by now I'm going to come through with some weird stat at least
I know,
once.
man. I know. I love it though because it's quite informative. It's nice to know some of those things a little bit sometimes too. But I'm gonna go right back in as soon as we're done, back in that room and start trying to just win the next one.
Of course. So good luck this week coming up in Philly.
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And our final questions for Coach Scott come from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Scott. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ty. How are you?
Pretty good. I want to know about Temple. I just got one question about them. You mentioned earlier about Kevin Keeler installed a new system up at Temple. And one thing that jumped out on the tape this weekend was Evan Simon, 6 touchdowns. And the guy he goes to most often is Peter Clark, that big tight end from Canada. So can you talk about that combination for us?
Yeah, I mean they're really good, those two, and I think the offense presents enough challenges where you better be disciplined, you better be gap sound, and you better cover, and you better have an answer for the big tight end. And, when you have a guy with the ability that tight end has, they change the game for you a little bit, and as far as what you're doing and how you got to defend it and all those type of things. So they're going to present some challenges defensively. They're also going to present some on the defensive side of the ball with some of their various schemes and fronts and coverages and different things that you look back at the Rice stuff and what he did at Rice. They were pretty good on defense. They had some good players. They had some guys that were, smart, bright guys that could handle a lot of the schemes. So it'll be interesting to see how much of what he did at, they did at Rice, they're going to do at Temple. But, those two guys, definitely the quarterback and the tight end, they're going to present a big time challenge for us to kind of neutralize so that, we will give ourselves a chance to win. But I still believe it's, a game of running, blocking, tackling, and catching. And if we'll give out, if we'll go do that and cover this guy and tackle him and do all those type of things, we're going to give ourselves an opportunity to win this game too as well.
All right. Thank you, Coach Scott.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Scott at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Howard travels to Temple this Saturday, September 6th, playing at Lincoln Financial Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kickoff is at 2 p.m., airing on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Now on to Durham, North Carolina, as we're going to focus on the North Carolina Central Eagles and our head coach, Coach Trei Oliver. Good morning to you, Coach Oliver.
Good morning, Lynn. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Coach. After a big win in week 0, you had a chance to host one of the nationally ranked football teams in New Hampshire. You kicked off your home slate against them. And despite the final score, what positives did you see from your team's performance in Durham, and what lessons are you going to take moving forward?
I thought we got a lot of lessons. I don't know how much positive stuff I got out of it, but I thought our guys did play for 60 minutes. We fought till the end, but we just made so many uncharacteristic mistakes. And when you play a really good football team like that, a team that's usually in the playoffs, like you say, nationally ranked, you cannot make those type of mistakes and expect to win a football game. We had a bunch of drop balls. I think we had 6 drop passes, blew a couple of coverages, missed a field goal. So, I thought we had our chances, but we had a struggle to get in a rhythm offensively. And defensively, we struggled to go off the field on 3rd down. Had a couple big penalties on 3rd down that kept drives alive for those guys. But I'll take my hat off to Coach Santos in New Hampshire. They have a really good football team. And, we just obviously we have some more work to do this week to get ready for another tough Old Dominion team.
Coach, let's talk about Walker Harris. He threw for 172 yards with a touchdown and an interception, while Chris Mosley had 106 yards on the ground. What about their performances this week? Because you're going to lean on them and the impact that they had on your offense.
Yeah, I thought
both of them play solid games, but when you're our better players, you have to play at a very high level. And, I thought Walker didn't his ball placement was as good as it's been in the past, and they gave their DBs a chance to make a few plays on balls. And then, Mosley, I thought we left some stuff out there. He had over 100 yards rushing, but, a couple runs I thought he could have broken and had some bigger plays. But, the guys got to get some help. And, receivers have to make those tough catches. And not every ball is going to be in a perfect position for you. Sometimes you got to, jump or reach behind you or whatever the case may be to make that tough catch. But, we have some stuff that on film that we see that we can improve on. And I think we were very close, but we really, really, really struggled getting a rhythm on offense.
Okay, Coach, this week, your first real road trip to Old Dominion. Let's talk about them. They played a real good football game at number 20, Indiana, losing 27-14. What's going to be the key area of focus and practice for the Eagles this week to put themselves in a position to come away with a win on the road at ODU?
Right. I think it's all about Central. We have to clean up some small things on our end to give ourselves a chance to beat anybody, not just ODU, but to get better. And I think, like it was the last 2 weeks, focus on us. And the Eagles can't beat Eagles. And we're going to have our hands full. They have a very good quarterback and explosive offense. And like you said, you see these guys battling a Big Ten, number 20 ranked team in Indiana. But they're very good. But I think it's going to be about us, and we just have to take it one play at a time, one quarter at a time, and get the game to the fourth quarter. That's going to be the biggest thing. Get the game to the fourth quarter, give ourselves a chance.
Okay, Coach, 1-1. The Eagles get a chance to hit the road again. That's it for me. Hang on for Elise with questions from the media.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Our first questions for Coach Oliver come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. How you
Coach
doing?
Oliver. All right. Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I want to go back in terms of your game against New Hampshire. You spoke a little bit about not being as efficient in terms of your quarterback play. He was 3 for 13, Walker was. What do you do to help maybe increase the efficiency week to week after you have a down week, particularly after having a pretty good week in week 0?
Yeah, you said we were 3 of 13 on third down.
Correct. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I like I said, I think guys have to make some tough catches. There's a couple screens that were right there, and the ball wasn't perfect, and our running back, didn't come up to grab. First play of the game, I thought it should have been explosive plays. Probably could have gone for 60. Right at the fingertips of the receiver. So there's a lot of that stuff going on, and like I said, guys have to strain and make those tough plays. Not everything's going to be like we draw it up on the board in the office. So I think that's like the big thing with that. We got to be able to help guys out. And, obviously Walker's done a great job of ball placement in the past. And we'll work on that with him as well. But, again, I can't say it enough. Guys got to make these tough plays.
Moving on to your next game, you go up FBS with Old Dominion. You spoke about Colton Joseph. While he didn't connect much on his passes, he was 11 of 22, 96 yards, I'm sure, as you saw. But he's able to get some things done with his feet. In your opening game against Southern, that quarterback was able to make a big run, but it seemed like you were able to make the adjustments in the second half to kind of shut that down. What do you look to go into this game that allow you to potentially slow down, if not stop, the quarterback for Old Dominion?
Yeah, we're going to have our hands full. The kid was 10 for 179. The Joseph kid, the quarterback at Old Dominion. So, and 2 touchdowns. So we're going to have, he's explosive. He's very fast. He looks like an HBCU quarterback, honestly, man. It's a real dual threat. So we're going to have to do a great job of when we send him pressure to be able to contain him on the edges. And then we're not sending pressure, do a good job of playing with clean eyes in the back end and be able to pass the receivers, when he starts scrambling. But in the quarterback run game, guys, our run fixers are going to be perfect. They really are. And, he's very elusive. And once he gets out, he can take it the distance. So we just had to do a great job with containing him in the back when he dropped back to pass and shore up our run fits in the run game.
Thank you, Coach Oliver. Coach
Thanks, Doc.
Take care.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Oliver. Good to talk to you again. Wayne Cartwright, the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. So Walker Harris was 13 out of 33 on the night, and you talked about Chris Mosley's performance. But one thing I want you to expound upon a little bit more. You said that guys need to give your quarterback and your supporting staff, supporting cast, they need to give guys more help. What did you mean by that?
We had 6 drops. We have 6 drop balls. So I mean, it's hard to get in a rhythm and it's hard to convert and win first down and convert on third down when you guys are dropping the ball. And that's what I'm saying. You got to help Walker out. You got to help the team out. When the ball's coming to you and we target you, you need to come down with the football, especially with this in the catch radius.
All right. And then with this being the first game that New Hampshire played, obviously Rick Santos has been around for a little bit. How much of that had to go into the way you guys played against New Hampshire on Saturday in terms of making adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, good question. You know, it was about in-game adjustments because that was their first game and we didn't have any film to go on, and they had new coordinators. So a lot of film we watched was from last year, Holy Cross film as well as New Hampshire film. And, you know, you have to try to get a feel quickly about what they're trying to do and how they're trying to attack you. So it was a lot of what ifs out there and a lot of things that we didn't know going into the game. Because like I said, it was their opening game. So guys, we had to try to do a good job of adjusting on the run and in-game adjustments. And I thought our defense staff and offense staff did a relatively good job of it. But at the end of the day, guys got to make plays, man.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck to you guys this weekend at Old Dominion. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm well, James. How are you?
I'm blessed. Your wide receiver room. Mr. Wall was able to score. Peterson, Spikes. Just talk about your wide receivers, and I know you want them to make completions, but what are you seeing from that room?
I mean, we have some talent in the room, and it's about being consistent. I thought all those guys played really well in week 0, our first game of the year. But it's about consistency and improving. And I don't think that we got better. We didn't put it on film that we improved this past week. And, you know, I'm pleased with them. I think that like I said, we had a lot of good talent. Coach Highsmith, our receiver coach, does a good job with those guys. You know, but again, we've got to strain on the perimeter when blocking. You got to make the tough catches, and you know, you got to make plays. And I thought that we were in the game even when we were down 2 possessions. I really thought we were 1 play away from getting back in it, and we just needed a spark. And you know, guys were straining, guys were trying, and everything like that. But at some point, we got to make a play. And I thought us being at home with the home crowd, if we could have made 1 play and got us a spark, that would have changed the game. That would change the game.
Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, your linebackers and then your corners, what are you seeing defensively, and what would you like to clean up?
Obviously, pass interference. We had a couple pass interference penalties this past week, which kept drives going. And, you know, I'm not sure about, you know, what they deem a ball catchable or not. You know, they throw the ball up in the bleachers and they throwing flags talking about pass interference. But we got to do a better job of getting a head around and locating the football and making a play on the ball. And, you know, they made a couple really, really good catches, tough catches. But we had to fight all the way through. The DB's got to fight all the way through the ground to work to get the ball out. You know, it's not acceptable to let a guy catch the ball. And we talk about practice habits. And when you're in practice, you know, going against a scout team, there's no way a guy can catch a football in practice. And that's the mentality I have to have. So we got a couple young DBs that we have in the rotation. And I've seen improvement all year with them throughout camp. But at the moment of truth, we got to come down with the ball.
Good luck on the road at Old Dominion.
Yeah, thanks.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Oliver this morning. Thank you again for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
North Carolina Central travels to Old Dominion on Saturday, September 6th, playing at SB Ballard Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia. Kickoff is 6 p.m., scheduled to air on ESPN+. At this time, I'll turn things over back to Lynn Thompson for Coach Michael Vick.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elise. Now let's go to Norfolk, Virginia. Have a conversation with the head coach of the Norfolk State Spartans, Coach Michael Vick. How are you this morning, Coach Vick?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good, good. National TV debut. You coached your first game with tremendous support from the fans and the community in the home field at Dick Price Stadium. While the result wasn't quite what you hoped for, how now do you evaluate your team's performance in the season opener?
Yeah, it was great to go against another opponent other than ourselves. It's hard to evaluate when you playing with each other every day. Um, to get a chance to go out and play against another opponent gave us the opportunity to see what we really could do, what we had, the things that we can correct, move forward from, and get better at. And so, we felt like we were in the game at a certain point, but we certainly let it slip away. And so, got to look at the mistakes that we made because there were a lot. Go back and correct it and get back on the train and get this thing going again.
Okay, Coach. Veteran quarterback Otto Coons returns after a year off, and he threw for 219 yards, 19 of 27 on the night, with receivers DeSean Kendrick and Cameron Thomas accounting for 205 of those yards. After looking at the film, what stood out to you about the chemistry among those three in the passing game?
Well, it was obvious that those guys have a ton of playing experience. DeSean transferring in, he spent a lot of time with the ones and twos, which has been with the ones and twos, and so they're very familiar with one another. Got a rapport. Obviously, I wish they could have did more, but hey, it's good that it happened now, and they got something they can build on. So, it was extremely proud of them and the way they competed. But obviously got to do a little bit more to get the W.
Coach, now as you prepare for Virginia State in the Labor Day Classic, a big one, they come off a big victory. What are going to be the keys for the Spartans this week to come on top in this storied rivalry?
Yeah, I think for us, we got to start fast. We started a little slow this past week, and we got to bring the energy, but ultimately limit the mistakes, not give up the explosive plays, not beat ourselves up when we create penalties after positive plays, so we put ourselves in bad positions at times. And so, like I told you, we can't take 2 steps forward and then 5 steps back, because that's what we did. So, like I said, more explosives, win the turnover battle as we did this past weekend. Certainly could have made a couple plays that would have put us in position. But as we look back, we see the positives, but know that we got to continue to grow, got to continue to get better, and can't get complacent because it's only going to get tougher from here.
Okay, Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck this week. Hang on for at least with additional questions from the media.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to our media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. Our first questions for Coach Vick come from Wayne Cartwright.
Coach Vick, Wayne Cartwright, the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. So, Coach, obviously Israel Carter started. Then you went to Otto Coons, and he finished the game. Are you looking to go back to Israel Carter, or is Otto Coons going to be your starter when you guys take the field against Virginia State?
Yeah, we're going back to Israel. Going back to Israel. Going to give them an opportunity to go in and find a rhythm, get in tune with the game, go out, play some good football, and have some fun. And so, Israel was very positive about everything. Obviously, nobody likes to not play, but he knows his opportunity is right there in front of him, and now he just got to go do it. He got to continue to improve and continue to get better. Start fast, but at the quarterback position, you can find your rhythm in the second quarter, third quarter. So, he'll be out there, full time this week, and he'll show what he can do.
And Pete Shinnick, obviously head coach from Towson, he's one of the good offensive minds out there. He had that true freshman quarterback, Andrew Endorf, and of course those running backs, Al Wooten and group. You guys, they were getting, they were giving you guys fits there in the first half, but then you guys made some adjustments and kind of held them down. So talk a little bit about how the adjustments that you guys made defensively to give you guys a little bit of a chance there in the second half.
Yeah, well, being the first game of the season, you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what the opposition is going to bring to the table. So we had to get a feel for what they was doing. in the first half, and it was kind of what we expected, with a couple of twists here and there. I think Pete and those guys did a great job in scheming, but we made our second half adjustments. We stayed in the ball game. For us, we knew it was about tackling those good running backs, and we didn't know what quarterback we would see. It was about just making sure that we had our eyes in the right places, and we knew they would try to just come out and get him into a rhythm, and which they did. And so before you know it, we was down 13-0, and we just hung in there. We made the adjustments in the second half, catered towards stopping the run, mixed up the coverages a little bit on the back end, and then got beat with the 3rd and 20. And I think that was the deciding factor once we got the momentum.
All right, and then lastly for you, Coach, obviously now you've had one game under your belt and you're preparing for your second. Now, what's the process that you've learned from your first game as a head coach now going here into your second?
Yeah, definitely, know that now you got film, you got coaching points, things to coach off of. You pinpoint the areas that you can get better at. You know where your strengths and weaknesses are, and so that's what we're gonna continue to try to scope out. It's all about making the team better week to week, and making sure that we plug and play the guys that we know are going to be difference makers in the game. But ultimately, for us as coaches, it's about scheming it up, putting them in position, trusting them, and then allowing them to go out and play fast. And so we got to stay competitive. We got to continue to compete, continue to challenge each other, and get better each and every week. We can't get complacent.
All right, Coach Vick, good luck against Virginia State. Talk to you next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Vick come from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach Vick. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, James?
I'm blessed. I hope you and everyone in Spartans Nation are well. Just talk a little bit about continuing to put your stamp on this program, and then you look at the big jump from week 1 to week 2, what you want to see as you continue to coach up Sparty.
Yeah, I think it's important to continue to build character. It's important to continue to instill the discipline. The 10 penalties that we had, those was discipline related. Especially in the end with the 15-yard penalty when we was trying to fight to get the ball back. And so, we got to continue to harp on the little things. The football will take care of itself. I tell our guys, we know how to play ball. We know how to go hoop. But it's the little things in between the lines, keeping your composure, being disciplined, from a mental standpoint and physical standpoint, not putting yourself in harm's way, and don't give the game away, because in the game of football, you can actually give the game away. And so, we just got to be smart. We got to continue to get better each and every week on the details and the little things. And we are nowhere near where we want to be or a finished product. So, we got to keep our heads down, keep working hard, because it's not going to get any easier.
Coach Vick, these rivalries in HBCU, when we look at the history of the game, Virginia State, this is a golden opportunity, but take us back to some of your memories of the rivalries, and now you get an opportunity to coach in one off the top in week 2.
Yeah, being a kid, I came to plenty of Norfolk State, Virginia State games, and so I know what it means to the state of Virginia, the rivalry, the conference, what it means, to the fan bases, and so thankful to be a part of it. Each week for us is a big week, and so just being a part of this, really, shows me every day where I'm at in the position that I'm in. But I enjoyed this past Thursday. I had a great time, and I can't wait to get back out there. So being part of, cultural moments like this, it'll be big for me and my family, and for our team, and, for Spartan Nation. So we want to make this a moment that we'll never forget. But, we're going against a good opponent. They had a great win this past week, put up a ton of yards. And was just doing any and everything that they wanted to do. So we know we got to come out, we got to challenge them, we got to be competitive, and we got to start fast. And so that's the way we'll game plan around this week.
Thank you, Coach Vick. Have a blessed week.
Well, thank you, James.
Our next questions for Coach Vick come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Vick.
How you doing, Kenyatta?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
For the sake of brevity, I want to ask you about the last play, then I'll share it with my colleagues. Obviously, it didn't work out in terms of getting into the end zone after 4 attempts. How do you use that as a coaching moment, motivation? What did you see in terms of that, and how do you take that to push forward as you go into the Virginia State game?
Yeah, out of all the things that happened in that game from start to finish, I think that was probably the most disappointing for us. One, I just got to make sure I'm situationally aware of the clock, make sure I'm, standing close to the ref for the timeouts. You kind of just stood there at the end and was looking sloppy, and it was kind of all over the place. So situationally, we got to be better. But that's a competitive moment. That's a competitive moment where you get a chance, regardless of what the scoreboard say or how you may be feeling on the inside. It's a chance to still get into the box. And so you can't take that for granted. I told them that we're going to have to earn every blade of grass every week. And so that was another blade of grass that we needed for momentum to move forward. And so I told them that was probably the most disappointing thing to happen. But nevertheless, we got to continue to be competitive in those aspects, and it's certainly a situation that you learn from, and can't wait to get in that situation again to challenge those guys. And so that's what it's all about. But they know as long as they're conscious of it and cognizant of it, then I can live with it, because the next time that situation arises, I have something to coach off or talk about.
Coach Vick, thank you for your forthrightness and your answer there. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup.
Our next questions for Coach Vick come from Ty Miller.
Coach Vick, good morning to you. Ty Miller with Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? What's up, Ty?
Just one question, Coach, about the upcoming game against Virginia State. Against Towson, you ran for 39 yards, and Virginia State held Barton College to just -3 yards rushing. So talk about the challenge for your offensive linemen and running game in this upcoming contest.
Oh, absolutely. I know I just mentioned per the last question that was probably the most disappointing being on the 1 yard line and not punching it in. But going back and looking at the stat sheet and actually seeing it in real time, knowing that we, it's probably averaging 2 yards per rush, if that, said a lot about, just the mentality. And playing this game is about a mindset, and whether you're in the trenches or whether you're on the defensive side of the ball, it's about a mindset. And so I seen us do better. That was probably the most shocking thing that came out of the game for me in terms of that unit and how good they've been. So they'll be challenged week in and week out, and so we'll go as they go. And they know that, and so we got to get better. We got to get better, and we will. We'll find ways to improve, and so it was definitely a wake up call to them.
Thank
But
you, Coach.
take nothing away from Townsend. They was very stout up front, and they did a great job in their scheme as well. So we just got to be better, with our scheme.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Our next questions for Coach Vick come from Trevin Gray.
What's going on, Coach? Trei, Virginia Pilot. How you doing?
What's up, Trevor? How you doing?
Doing all right, man. I asked you this after the game. I'm gonna ask again just in case your answer potentially changed. But now that you've had a few days to reflect from that game, what did you learn about your team and about yourself as a head from the first game?
Well, I learned, as far as our team, that very tough team, very competitive. The will to win is there. I could just see it in defeat, and you can also see it in their eyes. And so, I think we got a team that expect to win and not go into the game hoping to win, and we've created that type of environment. So we want to keep that trend going. As a head coach, it's always good to get the first one under your belt. And I think I was trying to prepare for more situations outside of the game of football than what it was, and I seen that it's just like playing quarterback, just following the flow of the game without the ball in my hands, and so other responsibilities that I got to take care of and things that I got to get better at, that I'll continue to learn from, and so this isn't an easy thing to do. But it's a great challenge and I enjoy it.
and I gotta be prepared for any and every situation, just like I'm asking my players to prepare. So all in all, I felt like it was a great debut. The scoreboard didn't reflect it, but we were very competitive, and I feel like it's definitely a game we can learn from.
For sure. And going back to Izzy for a second, with that decision to pull him after the first, did you feel like it was because he didn't start quick enough, or just what kind of led to that decision in that moment to turn to Otto?
Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't pull Otto. You know, our plan was to give Otto a possession or two in the first half, and then a possession or two in the second half. We know we got two good quarterbacks. We have one that's a veteran and one is, young with a lot of potential, and we want to put him in the right situations. And so I gave him 3 drives, and then Otto came in, and unfortunately for him, he came in when we was down 13-0, and then want to go back and play the quarterback carousel type of thing. We're not going to be that type of football team. We're going to have one guy out there that we trust. We trust both of them. But we didn't want to send a weird message to our football team. So it was, like I said, we feel like we can win with both, and so we just let Otto ride it out. And so it was no slight towards Izzy. Obviously being a competitor, he wanted to be out there, but his opportunities are coming, and so very excited about this week. Looking forward to getting him going, and we got to prepare for Virginia State and be ready.
So last one here, is there a chance that you will give Otto a couple snaps against State, or is it just spur of the moment? How does that look?
Otto could get a couple snaps against State for sure. Definitely could get maybe 1 or 2 possessions, but Israel will finish the game.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Our next questions for Coach Vick come from Mark Singelis.
Hi, Michael. Mark Singelis from the Albany Times-Union newspaper in New York. How are you?
How you doing, Mark?
I'm good, thank you. Hey, Albany's playing Delaware State this weekend. I wonder, with you and DeSean being in the same league as first-year head coaches, has that helped both of you? Have you been able to talk and kind of bounce things off each other and helped each other through this experience?
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Not just DeSean. DeSean being a brother of mine and a great, but I think just all the coaches in the conference, man. Coach Scott, Larry reached out before my first game. I had so many texts. I just seen it a couple, yesterday. But congratulations, just people saying, good luck and wishing me good luck. But yeah, to the ability to, just talk. I hit him before the night before the game, and or maybe 2 days before the game, just to catch up with him on the mentals. And I know we going through the same thing at the same time, and so we feel like it's important to stay connected. And at the end of the day, we are kind of living out a dream that we never thought we would be living. And so my support is always going to be there for him. For every game except when we play each other. And so. Yeah, man, just ultimate support, man. He can call me about anything. I can call him about anything. That's my brother.
If I can take back to your playing days for a minute, what was it like playing with him? I mean, he's one of the best deep threats in the history of the league. What was it like having him as a receiving threat out there?
Yeah, it was certainly fun to have a guy like DeSean out there that at any time when you get the right coverage, you can take advantage of a play that you try to cook up. And Andy Reid always did a good job of putting DeSean in the positions where we could take advantage of other defense and what they was trying to do on the back end. And so, sometimes it happened naturally. Sometimes we had to set it up, but regardless of what, we got it done a lot.
You did. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our next questions for Coach Vick come from Kendall Lanier.
Hey, Coach. Kendall Lanier, ESPN Plus reporter. How are you?
How you doing, Kendall? I'm doing great.
I'm good. I wanted to ask you about Kevon King and what you thought of his performance last week and what more you're expecting from him going into this week.
Yeah, obviously Kevon felt like he could have played better, but Kevon can't run the ball without an offensive line getting some push and doing what they supposed to be doing at all times, playing with pad level, using their strength and opening up holes for him. So he didn't have any creases. We got to get better at that. That's one thing we'll work on throughout the week this week, depending on what we have to do versus Virginia State game plan wise. Could be pass heavy, could be run heavy, who knows? But we just want to put the ball in the hands of our best guys, and Kayvon is certainly one of our top playmakers on our team, and he has the spotlight on him right now, and we gotta put him in that position. So he got to hold the guys in front of him accountable as well. So we can't always be the ones speaking the language. He got to take the responsibility and take on the onus too to be a leader.
Yeah. And last week was big in terms of national TV game, First Take coming to campus. How do you think the team was able to handle the attention and some of the pressure?
I think for some of the guys, it was a little overwhelming. It's the bright lights, big stage, and so we might have made it bigger than what it was, but now we just get to exhale and we get to just be like everybody else and not have all the attention on us. And so even though we appreciate it, we want it at the right times. And so not to say that I wouldn't invite that. I thought it was a great opportunity for them. But all this is new. All this is new for them. And so we just get to exhale and we just want to go into a period of normalcy right now where we can just fly under the radar, get better, and just represent the NSU brand the best way we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Best luck this week.
Yeah.
That concludes all of our media questions. Coach Vick, thank you again for joining us this morning, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Norfolk State will host Virginia State this Saturday, September 6th at William Dick Price Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Kickoff is at 6 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview with Coach Jackson.
Thank you so much, Elise. Let's go to the nest in Dover, Delaware, where we're going to have a chance to chat with the new head coach of the Hornets, Coach DeSean Jackson. Good morning to you, Coach Jackson. How are you?
Hey, good morning, man. Good to yourself.
Good, good. Coach, you made your debut last week against in-state rival Delaware, making the jump up to FBS. While the result wasn't quite what you hoped for, your team put together a strong showing with 17 points and nearly 350 yards of offense, including 200 on the ground. How would you assess the Hornets' overall performance in that football game?
And it was good to get out there, man, for our first game. In our eyes, we knew the expectations. We knew we was, the underdogs, and that was a tough game over the past 11 years. They've been the bully, the big brother of Delaware. So it was great, man. We put in so much work, like I stressed over, the past few months, and just my guys, we came out well prepared. We competed at a high level. I just think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a lot, like I said after the game. Guys really just didn't, the mental side of it, that's what really hurt us. It wasn't anything about talent. I think they played their butts off and they showed they can play at a high level. It was just cleaning up the little things, and I think we'll do a better job of that. But overall, I'm very impressed and pleased with the guys. I just know it's a lot of room for improvement as well, too.
Okay, offensively, Marquise Gillis, 123 yards on 17 carries. He really set a lot of the tone for your unit. How important was his play in establishing the rhythm, and how do you see him continuing to be a key piece in your offense this year?
Man, Marquise Gillis, hands down, man. He's the train to our offense, and I think as time goes on, people will be able to see. I think he has a lot of ability, and he's a player that can be playing on Sundays. But it's not only just about Marquise Gillis. We have a running back room full of some dogs back there. Our offensive line, they was very physical up front. Playing versus Delaware, who's to make the jump on FBS. So they have some big presence up front. But I just think coming into the game plan, we knew our running backs had to play big. I feel like they're the strength of our offense right now, and they showed up and showed out. But overall, like I said, it starts in the trenches, and I think our O-line, starting with Justice and a lot of those guys down there, put us in some great positions for us to run the ball like that.
Okay, well, this weekend, your home debut, you get to roll out the Hornets in front of the home crowd, Coach, and you host Albany out of the CAA. What are your thoughts on this weekend and the challenges that Albany presents to the Hornets?
Yeah, Albany is a great physical team. You know, they do some great things all around as a team. They have a great culture. You know, they got players that fly around and play hard. It's going to be a tough battle for us. It's great to, you know, play in front of our home crowd in Dover. You know, we're excited. We're ready for the challenge. And like I say every week to my team, and I preach this to my guys, you know, it's going to be all about what we do. It's not going to be about what anybody else does. And I feel like if we handle our business like I know we can do and what we're capable of, you know, we're going to do what we need to do. But you know, every opponent, week in and week out, you know, we come into that week wanting to be 1-0, and this week we have another opportunity to play versus a great team. They played Iowa, and you know they played the FBS team just as well as we did as well too. So I know they'll be coming out, they'll be well prepared to play. But you know, we're looking forward to going out there and doing what we do best, and which is just playing complementary football, playing for one another, and playing hard. And you know, if we do all those things, man, at the end of the day, we'll be in good standings.
Great, great. Coach, hold on just for a second. Elise is going to take over from here with additional questions from the media.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to our media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Jackson come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Jackson.
Hey, good morning, Doc. How you doing?
I appreciate it. I'm doing well. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the momentum. As you said, and I agree with that, the framework of that game showed a lot of what Delaware State is building there and what you're building with the young men.
Mm-hmm.
You forced a couple of a fumble early in that game, punts. It wasn't until late until the half where they were able to put up 2 touchdowns. When you talk about that momentum, what does that look like going back into practice? Could you give us a little bit of an insight of how you plan on building on the momentum in terms of the successes and training up in terms of the failures in that game?
Yeah, man, that's a great point, man. I stress to my guys all the time, man, in practice, you know, how you play in practice will be how you play in the game. And I think throughout, you know, going back all the way to spring ball and to training camp as well, too, you know, it's things as a head coach I address because, you know, I've once been in these seats and in these positions of these young men. And I think at times, you know, being a player, you listen to authority or you listen to the coach and you may think as a player, you may know it all, right? But the things I've stressed bit us in the behind in the game on Thursday night, and it was great to see because now I think it's set in, and once it's settled in, I think all the players understand. Like, you know what? As much as people respect me as the 15-year vet and playing at a high level, you know, it's like anything. You could tell your son that the stove is hot. They got to touch it a few times before they believe it's hot, right? So I feel like the same thing goes on with what you're talking about now. I've been stressing discipline. I've been stressing assignment. I've been stressing detail work. Everything you do, once you get into practice, it's going to resemble this in the game, right? And a few times, personal fouls, misconducts, guys holding on certain plays. When we had the interception, guys holding. And those are the same things that in practice I detail about the work. You know, it comes time where a guy on defense is arguing with a guy on offense. They're bickering back and forth. And I'm like, man, y'all got to stop that. We're a team. Once we're able to control all that energy and put it on one sideline instead of going back and forth, we're going to be great. And then you get into the game and you just think the heat of the moment. If an opponent does something, guess what you're going to revert back to in practice when you're going back and forth with your teammate, right? So I encourage my players to understand that they have to move on. It have to be a short-term memory, and it got to be a next play mentality. And then as far as the holding, we go one-on-ones all the time. I tell my DBs, stop holding, stop panicking, trust your technique. When you get in a scenario situation, you may be in great position, but sometimes guys panic because they feel like I got to hold them to keep them close to me. It's just little things like that. And we're going to continue to work our technique. We're going to continue to challenge ourselves. And it starts in practice, and then it turns over into the game.
Absolutely, Coach Jackson. Thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Jackson come from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach Jackson. I hope you and everybody on campus are well. How are you, sir?
I'm good in myself, man. How you doing, James?
Yes, sir. Talk a little bit about your quarterback. Bennett able to throw it around, got the ball to Marquise, and just trying to improve. But talk a little bit about your quarterback.
And we knew going into that game that you know, Caden Bennett was our starter, and we knew he had to make some big plays for us to have a chance in that game. I think all the way, leading into mid third quarter, I mean, we had a chance in that game. Coming out halftime, it was up 14-3, which I feel like those two touchdowns they scored in the last, 6 minutes of the second quarter. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot. We felt like we should have been out ahead. It was mistakes that we made as an offense and as a whole team where, we should have had more points than what we had, but at the end of the day, we didn't. So coming out of halftime, it was 3-14. We came out and scored on the first drive. It was 10-14. And we felt real good about where we was at. They came down and scored, made it 21-10. We had a chance to turn around and go score again, and we made a bonehead play. We was in the red zone, and KB kind of got out the pocket, tried to make a throw on a play, and the guy intercepted the ball. And right then and there, I mean, he knows better. The style of play with his, leadership and his experience. If you don't have a guy wide open or that can make a play on that ball, in that scenario, it was raining now, the precipitation played the effect. Either run the ball or throw the ball out of bounds. I think that particular play right there. If we go up, even if we get a field goal, or God forbid we score a touchdown, that game drastically changed. Now it's 17-21. And throughout that whole game, I feel like we was playing them tight, and we still had a chance up until mid fourth quarter. But KB, it was a lot of things he left out there, and he understands that the responsibility and expectation that we have for him. He has to do a better job of playing and controlling the game, and I think he will do that. Starting this week at home versus Albany.
Coach, Albany comes by. Talk a little bit about the Great Danes so far, what you see on tape, and protecting your home field, the Hornets' Nest.
Man, Albany, they do a great job. Like I stressed earlier, they're going to be a tough, physical team. They fly around. They do some great things up front. They have a physical team. They hit. They're coming from the same conference that UD came from as well too. I know UD, kind of put it on them last year, but I mean, we don't really get too caught up in it. All I know is what I saw this year in their first game versus Iowa. They went out there and played Iowa pretty tough, even though it kind of got out of hand a little towards the end of the game. But what I will say, they do some great things, great culture. They're coached by a great man that's leading them. So I mean, I'm just excited to get out there and kind of just we got another opportunity. I mean, every week in and week out, we'll have another opportunity, and this week presents ourselves with a tough physical team.
Coach Jackson, moving into week 2, making that jump, just talk a little bit about living your dream as the coach and your ball club improving, making a big jump into week 2.
And we're looking for the opportunity. We're excited. We got out there. We had a few extra days of practice this week, so I stressed on the discipline. I stressed on making sure we have 11 men on the field. There's a few times we was caught where I had to call timeouts early in the first half, and looking back at it, I won't allow myself to make those. I wouldn't call them mistakes because they're growing pains. You have to go through them, but I would say I won't make those decisions anymore because we need to have the right people on the field. We need to make sure we're not getting caught with delayed games. So I think the challenge presents itself, and as a whole, including myself, to my coaches, to our players, we have to hold ourselves to our standard and go out there and do what we need to do for us to have the success.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Man, you do as well.
Our next questions for Coach Jackson come from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Jackson. Good morning, and welcome to the coaching ranks officially now with your first game under your belt. So I know that you guys aren't believing any moral victories with playing the game like you did there in Newark on Thursday night. But I do want to ask from you, what are some of the potential things that you did see from this club that gives you and the coaching staff some good feelings potentially here in the short term ahead?
We feel very great. The message will remain the same. I think our players came out, we competed at a high level. We showed the world that we can play with the FBS level type team. I know University of Delaware has made the jump. They have some great resources. Their foundation over there, great ball. Coach Carty does a great job with them. So to go on that playing field and, in front of the world and put on a show like that, I think the world understands that Delaware State is a different team. You know, we will be good. We will have success. But at the end of the day, we can't do the talking. We got to go on the field and do and you know show. But what I will say is, as far as the great things that we showed we can compete. We showed we can be physical. We showed we made plays. And at the end of the day, I think once we control and take care of the discipline side and not doing things that affects us as a ball club, we're going to be a dangerous team, man. And I'm very confident of that. I know we brought players in that matches our mentality, our mindset, and how resilient we can be. So, you know, I'm just excited to see them guys put it all together because I know what they've shown. I know what they're capable of doing. And what I will say, you know, whoever plays this week in and week out is going to be a hard fought battle, regardless of the circumstances of the score. And we're going to have the success because I'm very motivated and I'm dedicated. You know, that I'm leading in a way that guys going to follow, right? And at the end of the day, I just need them to handle their part and go show up on whatever day the game is.
And then lastly for you, Coach, obviously the questions were you already talked about the things that were done on offense, but I want to ask you something specifically about defense. After this first game and also moving into this game this weekend against Albany, what would you say is your defensive identity as it is constructed at this present moment?
Man, honestly, I think the defense played pretty good the first 3 possessions. Then throughout, you know, I know that the fourth possession wasn't really good. Then they scored on their fifth and sixth. I just think overall the expectations of the defense really and not giving them the credit I feel like they deserve, but I just expect so much more from my defense. They fly around the physical. You know, our D line gets presence and pressure on the quarterback. Our linebackers fly around. You know, our corners are going to compete. Our safeties are physical. So for me, I'm definitely not satisfied because I know the expectations for that defense. But once they get all on the one chord and they're playing how I need them to play, man, it's going to be very violent, very physical, and a lot of plays being made. So that's our identity, I think.
All right. Good luck to you guys this weekend in your home opener, Coach.
Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Jackson come from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. You mentioned earlier just about, you know, what Caden was able to do, you know, aside from the mistake he made on the interception, but just watching him be able to go out there and inspire your guys. That the touchdown run in the beginning of the second half, it seemed like the entire Delaware State side of the field just lit up. Just how important is it to have a young man who can give you those electrifying moments to not only get his teammates hyped up, but the crowd hyped up as well?
Yeah, man, we knew, you know, since we got the addition of Caden Bennett, what he's capable of doing. You know, I think it showed last year in Sacramento State. He was able to beat Stanford, a high caliber team. But just his playing skills and his, you know, his dynamic he brings to the football field. In our eyes, I wouldn't want no other guy at quarterback leading our team. So we just got to do a better job of making sure he's properly reading the defense, properly getting the ball to who it needs to go to at any given time. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we could do all the great things in the world, but if our quarterback is not making the right reads and getting it to the right person at that time, then, you know, we're not doing something right. So we're going to put it on him, and the ball's going to be in his hands every snap. He'll touch it, and he'll make sure it's distributed in the right direction. But to have a player caliber like that, man, that goes out there, that demands, you know, that ownership and being a leader and taking the presence over. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't want no other quarterback in control.
UD had a switch really early on because Marker got hurt on one of those scrambles, and then Minicucci came in. Did you guys have any film on him at all, or was it just something that you guys had to adjust to in the heat of the moment?
Yeah, no, man, we watched film all summer, and we got a good eye on, you know, the number 3, and then with Nick coming in there as well too, and then, you know, they had a young freshman as well too that we had some insight on as well too. But you know, it's unfortunate that 3 went down early in the game like that. 4 had to come in, and I really feel like he had a field day on us. Just me being honest, because I told my defense, you know, when the main guy went down, we allowed, you know, a backup who I felt the backup was pretty good come in and, you know, kind of pick us apart, you know, running and throwing on the air. So they had more passing yards than rushing yards. I feel like we can kind of somewhat control the run game, but in the past game, we gave up like 280 yards, and that's way too much. So I think in the red zone, they went 3 for 4. They were 2 for 2 on 4th down. So we got to do a better job. We will do a better job. That was the first game out there, and it's no excuses. But moving forward, man, we're going to compete at a high level, and we're going to continue to do what we need to do to win games.
And lastly, you mentioned that, you know, it was a good opportunity for the world to see that Delaware State football is improving. How important is it for the guys on the team? Because obviously the history with this program has not been really good in the last decade. Just how important is it for the guys on the team to see that, yes, we can compete at a high level, and yes, the expectations for us to have a winning season are justified?
And it's demanding, man. I think, you know, overall the morale of our team is day and night from last year, and the guys are definitely you know, they're accepting it, they're buying in, they're working harder, they're becoming more of a team. They're going to put it on the line for one another. So those are the type of things you look for in championship ball. Those are the characteristics you have to become a championship team. And I think from my perspective, you know, having the success I had and knowing what it takes, those are characteristics you look at for your team to have. And you know, every day I'm putting it, you know, on the meeting boards. That's my message and practice. And you know, we just have to follow up with the work. I mean, we prepare hard and we work hard, so we just have to keep doing that and taking it step by step and brick by brick. And you know, by the time we look up, you know, we're going to be a scary team.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Jackson come from Mark Singelis.
Hey, DeSean, Mark Singelis from the Albany Times-Union newspaper covering Albany football. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself? How you doing?
Fine. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier being a 15-year vet who played at a very high level in the NFL. How did playing in the NFL for that long and playing for guys like Andy Reid, how did that prepare you for the situation you're in now, running your own program?
Man, it prepared me up tremendously. You know, I always say I never thought I would be in this position, playing at a high level and seeing how many hours coaches put in to this craft was something that I never wanted to, you know, take for light or for granted. So now with me having this opportunity, being in this seat, I've learned from some of the greatest, and I implement everything from each and every coach that I respected and trust. And you know, I kind of sprinkle my own piece onto it, but you know, that's what you have, man. In this business and in this game and anything in life, if you want the success, you have to work hard at it. There's no way around that. And I'm a firm believer of that. And, you know, that's my message to my players. I preach that, you know, at times, you know, guys may not want to work as hard. Guys may not want to be held to the standard. But at the end of the day, the standard is not exempt for anybody. We don't dumb the standard down for anybody. Everybody is held to the high standard. And day in and day out, even if you're not feeling good or your body's hurting or you have things going on at home, everyone in life has things going on, right? So when we come play this game, this is our getaway. This is our area to escape. And, you know, when we go out there, we have fun. We embrace it. We embrace the pain. We embrace the struggle because we know if we go through that, at the end of that tunnel, there's a light there. So that's my message. And that's what I've been taught from my mentors and the guys that I respect that coach at a high level.
After breaking into coaching at Long Beach last year, how did you know you were ready for this opportunity?
Man, I did it. It took me to jump in the seat to understand that, you know what, I have every intangible I need to be a great coach. So, and before I, you know, accepted this role, I had to call people that I trusted that coached me and ask, you know, hey, how do you think I would be as a coach? And, you know, they made the decision easier for me to accept. But, you know, like I said, man, I embrace it. I come to work every day. I work hard. You know, my coaches work hard, and you know, the message we will deliver is at the end of the day, if you want success, you must work extremely hard for it. There's no easy route into success. The championship teams, they have to go through it. They have to build the camaraderie. They have to go out in games. Sometimes you may be losing. Sometimes you may be down. Sometimes, I mean, other teams are going to make plays. But what are you going to do in order for you to go out and be the best you can be day in and day out to have success? And that's the determining factor.
Last thing for me, are you the play caller, DeSean?
I call everything. I call defense too.
Really?
Hey, man. Hey, you as a head coach, man. I feel like I put great people around me, And at any given time, if I want it to be a certain way, all my coaches respect it. If I get on the headset and say I want to blitz right here, or I want to be in cover one, if I get on the headset on the offensive side and say, hey, run the ball right now, hey, let's take a shot. So to answer your question, I'm not the 100% play caller, but if I see something in that game that I feel like I need to call at that moment, that's what I will do.
Thanks so much for the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Jackson come from Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Andy, I'm good in yourself.
Hey, your linebacker, Quentin Johnson, has he
Yes,
been
sir.
with you guys for very long?
No, he's not, man. He's a late addition, man. He's he's a guy that we got like I think our second week at camp. He was a guy that came from UCF that was in the portal, transfer portal early on, but it was some classes that he was taking in order for him to get his degree to be able to be accepted in the DSU. So we had to kind of wait that scenario out. And once he got his degree and he was cleared, then he kind of came in like the second week of camp. So I mean, if you're gonna be honest, if we're gonna be honest, he's only been here 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. So he's behind the 8 ball. I mean, these guys that we've been training all the way since back in January, I mean, he's far behind. But what I will say, once he was cleared and once he was implemented to our program, man, that dude is a presence.
I mean, pretty happy with that, considered how well he played on Thursday.
100%, man. And with him having 15 tackles, flying around that field like that, being one of the leaders on his defense, man, I know for sure once he gets in tip-top shape, man, you might see that guy get about 25 tackles. He's a monster.
Okay. And your kicker, he is from London?
Yeah, our field goal kicker, yes, Patrick. Yeah,
any idea what his story is, how he ended up over here?
Man, hey, we got some hell of recruiters, man. We our special teams coach is Martin Bayless, man. He's a 13-year veteran in the NFL. He's coached in the UFL. He's coached in college, for a lot of years as well too. So, I mean, that's just our DNA, man. We're gonna find the players, man. We're gonna do a great job of recruiting and bringing players in that we think could, help us win games, man. And that's all it's about at this level, man. Because it's hard. You got the portal. You got some of these schools with a lot of finances to get these guys. So, we don't really have that. We have relationships and we have, a head coach and, some other coaches that played at a high level in the NFL. So we're able to recruit a little different, man. It might not be finances, but, our respect and our names and, our success helps a lot with that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
And our last questions for Coach Jackson come from Daryl Duvall.
How you doing, Coach Jackson?
Hey, Daryl. I'm good in yourself.
This is Daryl Duvall from Pound U Sports, man. You going on your second game, man, of your career, of your head coaching career. How do you feel? What is your thought?
I'm honestly, man, it's here now, man. I know it was a lot of emotions. It was a lot of built up anxiousness, I would say, because this is the first time me preparing for a game and not being able to affect the game or go into the game. So in my eyes, I was excited to see what my players was going to do. I know we worked, extremely hard throughout the offseason, spring ball, and training camp. So for me, it was just more one of those things where I was like, man, I don't know what to expect. Like, is my guys going to go out there and do a good job? Are they going to lay down? Are we going to get blown out? Are we going to win? Like, it was just a lot of different scenarios going through my mind where, I didn't know. And, for me, I would say I'm excited to see how my team went out there, man, and competed, man. I think we got a lot to work with, man. I think we really have a special group, and guys, played hard for one another, and they did things that I can see, in the long run, characteristics could be winning football.
Your defense had moments where they kept Delaware in check. What positives can you carry forward from the side of that ball?
Man, just being consistent. I think throughout that game, it was a lot of plays that I feel like we made. And there was a lot of plays we didn't make. So in all honesty, just playing together as a team and doing things we need to do to really have that full team success, not moments where you have success here and there, So I think overall, the better we play together, the better we grow together. In all reality, is going to help us as a team in the long run.
Hey, man, thank you very much for taking the time. And I think you're going to really make a difference in Delaware State.
Man, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Jackson at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and good luck this weekend.
Okay, appreciate you guys.
Delaware State hosts the University of Albany this Saturday, September 6th at Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. And let's go to Orangeburg, South Carolina. I see Chennis Berry. Good morning, Coach Berry.
Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. I know you are too. What a thrilling game in Orangeburg. Went down to the wire. The South Carolina State Bulldogs narrowly defeated Wofford 16-15. Wofford misses a field goal, and the Bulldogs celebrate. Let's talk about it. Oliver C. Dawson Stadium, your team's performance, and some of the key takeaways from this big ball game.
First of all, it's always great to get a win, man. You know, winning is hard. So we tell our young men all the time, man, the mission in our program is to go 1-0 every single day. And we were able to accomplish that mission, man. But what a great atmosphere. Bulldog Nation was out here in full attendance, man. We were super proud of that. Well, whenever we get an opportunity to play in an in-state program, FCS program, you know, we recruit a lot of the same guys, and, you know, to have an atmosphere to be able to open up at our home opening day at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. We found a way to win the football game. I thought our defense played lights out. Couldn't have played any better. I mean, they play really, really good football. We did some good things on offense, moved the ball very well, just shot ourselves in the foot with what we call self-inflicted negatives. All right, but all in all, you know, we got to get better. We got to clean up some things in the kicking game. There's 3 phases to the game of football: offense, defense, special teams. And we had some miscues on the special teams, man. But all in all, you know, we found a way to win a football game against a really good Southern Conference football team. So we're grateful to be standing in here on Labor Day 1-0.
Talking about special teams, Coach, that's been a consistent strength over the years for your program, but that's what bailed you out the other day. Nico Cavalinas-Alti contributed 9 of your team's 16 points on field goals. Let's talk about his performance and the impact that he brings to your team on a day that you say that you had a couple of miscues on special teams.
Yeah. Nico kicked the ball well in terms of he's been nailing them. I mean, he's got a strong leg. You know, to be able to have a guy like that, he's really a weapon, to be honest, man. We got him from a NAIA program that's really, really good. He's kicked in a couple national championship games, NAIA, down in Kaiser, down in Florida. So, you know, he's super talented, man. But, you know, he put the ball through the upright, which is good, but also he put the ball on kickoff where we don't want the ball. And that kickoff right before the half ended up going to the house for 6, man. So all in all, he had some learning lessons. He's going to grow. He's going to get better. You know, he told me in the team meeting yesterday, Coach, it'll never happen again. So again, you learn, you know, in situations like the first game where there's so many unknowns, you have to learn from it. So he understands the importance of where we want the ball kicked, especially on those kickoffs. But all in all, he did a really good job of putting the ball through the uprights, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Okay, Coach. Well, all right. So you want to know. Now let's go this week because you got another in-state rival who had a huge win last night on national TV. You faced the Gamecocks out of the SEC, a top 25 program, coming off of this big win over Virginia Tech. What's the message to your team as you prepare to take on such a huge opponent and one that many of your players likely grew up dreaming about playing for? And you got relationships on that roster too. You know, guys played with teammates on that roster.
Absolutely. You know, whenever we get an opportunity to play against a perennial program like University of South Carolina, it's always a great experience for our young men. We'll get a chance to go down to Columbia, South Carolina to play against a really good Gamecock football team, which is top 15 team in America. And they have some players, you know, at the end of the day. But like I tell our guys and I tell our coaches, ball is ball. Cover 3 is cover 3. Cover 2 is cover 2. All right, 4 down is 4 down, 3 down is 3 down. It's football. We got to go out and execute the game of football. We're going to line our 11 up. They're going to line their 11 up. We're going to be prepared. Trust and believe that. South Carolina State University football will go out and compete. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, all in all, I tell our guys, man, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to come up with plans to be able to play against a really, really good Gamecock SEC football team. But guess what? At the end of the day, for 60 minutes, one thing you can guarantee about South Carolina State, All right, we're gonna compete for 60 minutes, no question about it. So our young man obviously will be chopping at the bit, but it's the next game. It's a big game because it's the next game. That's our message to our guys. When you have a program like South Carolina State, that's our message each week, regardless of who we're playing. All right, the mission still is to go 1-0. It's a big game because it's the next game, and we're gonna find a way to put our guys in position as a coaching staff to have our young men be successful.
Okay, Coach. Well, for all practical purposes, what's the record of the Bulldogs today?
1-0.
All right, Coach. Hold on for Elise, and she's got questions from the media.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Barry come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
How you doing,
Good
sir?
morning, Coach Barry.
Hey, man, great to see you as always.
It's blessed. It's blessed to talk to you, particularly when we get a chance to talk football and about the young men that you're leading, as well as some of the women in terms of the excellent programs that are around helping you develop this program. I wanted to talk about that last drive. 10 plays, 74 yards, 3:11 on the clock, key third down conversions, 29-yard pass play, 35-yard pass play, a mix with some key first down runs, and ultimately a 4th-and-1 conversion that would lead to what we now know was the game-winning touchdown. You talk about the fortitude of your team. You talk about Bulldog football, South Carolina State, and you incorporate the legends in terms of what has been before you and what you're building on top of, which led to a bowl game appearance in the conference championship last year. Can you talk about the DNA of what was inside this team ultimately getting that touchdown and finding a way to force a missed field goal deep in the territory to come home with the win?
Well, first and foremost, man, first of all, I want to say thank you for recognizing that, man. But, all in all, we tell our football team, listen, we practice situational football all the time. That's all we talk about. So the pressure isn't on us. The pressure is for the defense to stop us. That's the mindset, because that's the kind of offense that we have. And we did exactly right. We started on the minus 26-yard line, and we took the ball down the field methodically and converted on some big 3rd and 4th down plays. But it's the mindset again. Remember the mindset I put in all players. It's all about mindset. The pressure isn't on us. The pressure is on the defense to stop us. So that's their mindset. We were able to have some big moments in that game, but that drive, like you say, converting on 3rd down. When you look at us overall, we were very good on 3rd down on both sides of the ball. I think we were 12 for 23 on 3rd down, which is pretty good football. That's over 50%. And then our defense obviously played outstanding on 3rd down. But we got into a moment where it was late in the game on 4th down, and our guys were cool, calm, and collective. And there was a lot of communication that had to happen on that play. I tell you what, Wofford got down. They got into a situation. They got into a different front. And they got into a different coverage. Our quarterback saw it. He communicated with the O-line. He communicated with the receivers, got us in the right check, made an outstanding throw. And again, the best part about the play, the young man we gave opportunity to. This young man has been in our program for a couple of years, and he really was a down-the-line guy. Matter of fact, he started off the game holding the boards for our tempo boards. That's how he started off the game. And in this program, we give guys opportunities. And when you get an opportunity, what you do with that opportunity is totally up to you. So that guy got in. We had one of our slot receivers went down. He got a chance to get in at the end of the game. And Shamonte Burgess was able to run an outstanding route, got himself open, put it in the box. We were able to seal that game with a victory, man, after we hit the extra point. Then our defense went right back out there and stopped that team. So found a way to win the football game. It was a great atmosphere. The crowd stayed to the end. Bulldog Nation was here in full effect. That's a big win for our conference, first and foremost. Anytime the MEAC, we can go out to different FCS programs and get a win, okay? That's always used for our program, all right? You talk about the Southern Conference and all these, the CAA and all these, all these different conferences. When the MEAC can go out and represent and find a way, because ultimately at the end of the day, all it says is W or L at the end of the day.
That's right.
We want to find a way to go 1-0, and we found a way to beat a good Wofford football team this past Saturday.
I can talk to you all day, but I want to be respectful to my colleagues. The way that you use football as a ministry and getting it done, I just want to say congratulations, appreciate you, and keep moving forward. Coach Barry. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Doc. I appreciate you, man. I really do. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Wayne Cartwright.
Coach Barry, Wayne Cartwright, the ride. Man, this was a really weird game for you guys. Statistically, you outgained them 414 to 142. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. In fact, they didn't score an offensive point. Just talk about like this game, man, how crazy it was from those aspects right there.
Man, listen, first of all, man, are you a Browns fan? Man, you got the Cleveland Browns up there,
I'm from
man.
Cleveland, Ohio originally, yeah, and I live in Columbus.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio as well. 55th and Woodland, across from East Tech High School. Represent, baby. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, but listen, man, all in all, man, it's a lot of ebb and flow in the game of football, man. Football it's a great game. That's why I love it. It teaches you so much about the game of life. And our guys, one thing you've learned about, if you got a chance to watch our football game, we're a very resilient football team. When you talk about game of football, man, when you go into a season, nobody knows this. Obviously, I shared it, but nobody believes it. We have one returning starter on offense, okay? We got 2 returning starters on defense. We got a lot of transfer. We got 44 newcomers. You never know how they're going to react in those moments, all right? Because the game of football has so much that happens in it. But one thing you're going to know about them Bulldogs, we're very resilient. We're going to play hard for 60 minutes, no question about it. But, our defense played lights out. Like you say, 414 yards offense. We moved the ball up and down the field. Man, we had 19 play drives, 15 play drive, 12 play drive, 12 play drive. We converted on third down. But a lot of what I say missed opportunities. We ran 91 plays on offense. Okay. I charted the plays, and as I went through and graded the film, we had 18 missed opportunities. And a lot of it had nothing to do with Wofford. It was strictly fundamentals and footwork. If we could fix fundamentals and footwork, and that's going to be our focus this week, hey, we would have been better off than what we were. So again, I saw a lot of positivity, obviously on defense. Played really good football. As a matter of fact, not only did they not score offensive touchdown, they never even got in the red zone. So that takes kind of football our defense played, all day, really. And to see the score so close, it was the miscues that we had on special teams in the kicking game that really set us back. So we always in this program, we say, are you going to be a fountain or are you going to be a drain? A fountain pours into things, right? You pour it into it when you're a fountain. But when you're a drain, you suck the life out of things, all right? And at the end of the day, our special teams, we didn't play very well. We were a drain, okay? And we're going to get it fixed. There's no question about it. 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. We were able to give up a kick return that hurt us right before the half. We talk about the middleweight all the time. And we got a punt block. Usually when you get a punt block, you're usually going to lose the football game. So we're fortunate to be sitting here on Monday, on Labor Day, 1-0. So we're grateful for it all.
And then lastly, Coach, obviously Billy Atkins, he started your transfer from James Madison, and then Ryan Stubblefield, he led that game-winning drive. So between those 2 quarterbacks playing, what do you think will separate between those 2 to where you guys may eventually settle on one guy to be your guy all the way forward?
The cream will rise to the top. That's the beauty about this game of football. Everybody has their philosophies, right? Well, I got mine, all right? And at the end of the day, we got 2 really, really, really good quarterbacks that everybody in our league would love to have. And guess what? We're going to play them for the first couple games. And guess what? You're going to have to prepare for both of them, all right? So at the end of the day, we don't play the MEAC schedule to the last 5. We will know by then who our guy is. And they're 2 talented guys. I mean, really, they both played really well. Again, if you take away the seven drops that we had, we're not even having this conversation. Like we're like night and day, a lot to a little. So those 7 drops are critical in the football game. But all in all, they both have to get better. They did some really good things. They both have unbelievable arm talent. They're both dual threats. They're both super talented, and they both had outstanding training camps. So they deserve the right to play. Everybody can do whatever they want to do on their teams, and you hear the old saying, man, if you got 2, that means you don't have 1. Well, guess what? We got 2 really, really good ones, and you're gonna have to prepare for both of them. So figure it out. All right, but the Bulldogs gonna be ready to play, no doubt about it.
Hey, well, great time as always, Coach Barry. Good luck to you guys as you go down there to play South Carolina this week. God bless. We'll talk next week.
God bless you. Take care. God bless.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from James Hill.
Coach Barry, I hope you and everybody in Orangeburg are well. How you doing today, sir?
Outstanding. How you doing today, Mr. Hill?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Talk a little bit about the defensive side of the Bulldogs football when you think about this big win you had 16-15 over the weekend.
Our defense, Mr. Hill, man, played really, really good football on all three levels. You know, first of all, our defense coordinator, Coach O'Dapper, did a great job putting plans together. And we knew going into the season, you know, our defense was going to be really good. I mean, and the best part about it, Mr. Hill, just like we talked about playing couple quarterbacks, man, we played about several guys. We played about 11 defensive linemen, okay? We played about 4 or 5 linebackers, and we played about 8 to 9 DBs. So all in all, a lot of guys played. So we're developing experience throughout. So when we get to the nitty gritty, you got guys that got playing experience. So, you know, with us only returning 2 defense starters, we do have a lot of guys on defense that played a lot. And then we brought in the right fit of young men in terms of the transfer portal that fit our culture and what we're all about. And everything we're about is discipline. All right. But all in all, our defense played really, really well. We did a great job. What we always talk about, we got to stop the run. If you stop the run, now you put yourself in an advantageous situation. So now that D-line can go hunt. And that's exactly what they did. You know, we had some young men, obviously start with the big guys up front that did really well. Mike Mullins had 2 sacks. Kayvon Chisholm had a sack on our defensive front. Jordan Franklin as our linebacker core played very, very well. And we were led by our safety, Brendan Scott, on the back end. He did some really good things as well. But to hold that team to like 100 and maybe 14 yards total offense, that tells you what kind of defense we played. And they really pitched the shutout. Obviously, they didn't score on our defense. The points they were giving up were on special teams. But all in all, you know, I think we got something we can really build on for the rest of the season because we play really, really good football here at South Carolina State, especially defensive football.
Coach, coming up September 6th, you have a golden opportunity. It's on a big stage, HBCU football. You guys will showcase against South Carolina. This is a game that a lot of people are interested in. Talk about that opportunity. You'll roll down the freeway, a short drive, and it'll be some football to be played. But talk a little bit about that opportunity.
Well, the opportunity of a lifetime only lasts a lifetime of opportunity. And the opportunity for us is right now. We got to go out and make it happen, man. You know, you talking about a good football team, man. Listen, man, when you get an opportunity to play against those kind of guys, man, you know what the deal is. But our guys, I promise you, we're going to have the mindset where we're trying to go 1-0. They're going to play hard. They're going to compete. They're going to be prepared. Our coaches, I have an outstanding staff. They're going to do a good job of putting those guys in position to be successful. At the end of the day, like I tell our guys, at some point in time, dog, you're going to have to win your one-on-one. You're going to have to win your one-on-one, whether it's the O-line versus D-line, the wide receiver versus the DB, the running back versus the linebacker. At some point in time, the ball is going to kick off, and you're going to have to win your one-on-one. And our young men, they'll be ready to rock and roll. They'll compete. They'll be competitive. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Obviously, the Gamecocks are going to be in the building, but I promise you, them Bulldogs going to be in the house. So we'll have great representation from Bulldog Nation. Super excited about this opportunity. Our young men will be prepared for the moment. Again, the separation is in the preparation, and our young men will be prepared to go compete this upcoming Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you as well. Take care.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Carlton Green.
I think Mr. Green's on mute.
Yeah. All right. We'll jump over to Ray Rogers until Mr. Green can get his audio sorted.
All right. Good afternoon now, Coach Barry. It's afternoon, so I got to make sure I say the right thing. But congratulations again on your week 1 win. You said last week you were most excited about the team's depth in a tight win like that. Do you feel like you put that depth on full display, or have we not seen yet what your full roster just entails all the talent that you have?
I mean, you know what? First of all, hello. I hope you're well as well, man. But listen, man, I mean, we played a lot of guys, and that's the whole mission. You know, last year we didn't play a lot of guys. We played the top guys, okay? But I feel like you got to play a lot of guys early, man. You got to find out what kind of ball club you got early. And, if we go recruit them, if we spend enough time to go out and recruit them, all right, spend time and bring them into our program, well, we got to give them an opportunity to go play. And, I think you got a chance to see the depth of our team, man. If you look out there, play a lot of guys on defense, play a lot of guys on offense, play some guys on special teams, and we're going to give you an opportunity. And what you do with that is completely up to you. The opportunities don't go away. They just go to other people, at the end of the day. So our guys, they'll be ready to rock and roll, man. Super excited about developing that depth as we continue to go. So I think we got a really, really good football team. We'll be talented again. We'll be good. I tell our coaches, there's potential, then there's performance. Potential means you just hadn't done it yet. Performance means you went out and did it. We want guys to perform. But the only way we can get them to perform, the guys that got potential, we got to give them a chance. So that's what it's all about. Everybody got their philosophies, but I got mine. I've been doing this for 31 years, man. I'm not new to this, man. I'm true to this, man. So at the end of the day, man, we're going to find a way to put them guys in position to be successful and let them go do it.
All right, congrats and have fun this weekend.
God bless, man. Take care.
God bless.
Appreciate you.
And our next questions for Coach Barry come from Daryl Duvall.
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing, Mr.
Daryl from Powering You Sports in Frisco, Texas. Hey, I just want to say congratulations on your win this past weekend, man. But I just want to kind of talk about you. You have a little bit of a different philosophy from your previous coach, and you're bringing in a lot of transfer players in. Is that where you're kind of going in on trying to? I know you want to mix play transfers and develop the talent. What is your thoughts on both of those and kind of coinciding with each other? I mean, especially since you're playing South Carolina this week.
Man, our philosophy is the same as it's been for me since I've been doing this, man. We're going to recruit them, we're going to retain them, we're going to develop them, and we're going to graduate them. But the reality is you got to be able to pivot too, man. It's a transfer portal world. If I got an 18-year-old playing against a 24-year-old, I don't know. All right, so you got to make sure that I give them a chance to be successful, right? So we do a mixture of both. Like last year, we signed 12 really, really good high school guys, mostly from the state of South Carolina. And then this year, we signed 12 really, really good high school football players. Matter of fact, 2 of them started this past week. So we give freshmen a chance, but we also signed some really good transfers as well, man. But you have to. You got to get guys to be able to replace, your experience that may have left your program. So, we'll be able to do both, man. At the end of the day, we're just grateful to have a place that, we're able to get transfers in, and they have to fit us though, man. If you watch our team and you see who we got, we don't just take guys. A lot of people just take guys, man, just because they went to another school, man. We got NAIA guys, D2 guys, FCS guys, FBS guys. We just want guys that was productive where they were, and they get a chance to put in that garnet and blue and let the chips fall where they may.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
I appreciate it, man. Take care.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Barry, Ty Miller from Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Ty? You doing all right?
I'm doing okay, Coach. You got South Carolina coming up this weekend. If you had a chance to watch the TV tape against Virginia Tech, fast and physical. And oftentimes there are concerns about when teams step up a competition about the injury standpoint, the injuries happening against competition that can run a lot of numbers at you. What are your concerns about that, if you have any about that, going against South Carolina?
I mean, it's always a challenge, man. It really is, man. Like you say, those if you probably look at their O-line and D-line, man, they probably about $20 million in between them 2 positions that they've invested into their guys. So they have the top of the top in America. I mean, to be honest, man. But whether I was at Southern University or different schools, we played those kind of games, and we want to just make sure our guys go out and compete. Yes, it's the safety concern, because at the end of the day, the resources that they have, they have a different kind of football player than we have. That's why they're at University of South Carolina, at the end of the day. So, our young men, like I say, they're going to be up for the challenge. They'll go out and compete, but we're going to be smart as well. We have a long season. This is only game 2. We're looking at a long season. We want to make sure we make the right decisions that's going to protect our players. All right. But also at the same time, we want them to go out and compete and get the opportunity to go compete as well. But, there's challenges. We all know there's challenges playing up, especially against a, SEC team. I'm not talking about a lower mid-major type team. We talking about the top 15 team in the United States of America. So, but our guys will be up for the challenge, man. They'll be ready to compete. Shane Beamer got those guys ready to play. They play really, really well yesterday. They got some guys on defense that are flying around, doing a great job. And obviously, you got to be able to stop, Lenore Sellers, man. He's about 250 pounds, 6'4" back there, quarterback. That's the real deal, Holyfield. So he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. And then they have a defensive end who's probably getting about 1.2 million. That's coming off the edge. So, but our young men will go over there and try to compete each and every day, man. But our guys are excited about the opportunity.
And this may be a question you may or may not want to answer, but a couple of years ago, South Carolina State had a kid by the name of Jawan Howard who really tore up the MEAC, with rushing when he stepped in as a freshman, and he transferred to South Carolina, but he's buried on the depth chart. So what could be the message in that for players who are on historically Black college teams and oftentimes get a look from the higher college, bigger colleges, but knowing that they could end up buried deep on the depth chart? Is there a message for them somewhere in that?
Well, the reality is, Ty, we're going to try, like I said, our philosophy is to recruit them, retain them, keep them here, all right, develop them and graduate them. But the reality is some of those larger institutions, they have what we don't have. And those are resources and money to be able to pay them. And a lot of times those guys are going to choose that rather than choosing to stay where they are and continue to grind like a Kobe Durant. All right, like the guys that stayed here and were able to be productive, because I'm sure that Kobe Durant had an opportunity to leave as well as he played. But he stayed here, he stayed the course, and now he's doing outstanding in the National Football League. All the guys that come through here. If you look at South Carolina State, there's a tradition and history of guys that not only dominated right here at FCS football, HBCU football, they dominated, they were on the field, and they played and they made plays because they can't see you. They can't see you if you're buried on the depth chart. The only way they can see you, especially if you have that kind of ability, you got to be on the field. So, we ended up losing some guys this year that would have been productive, but they have a decision to make. They choose sometime, because they have dreams and aspirations. Those guys want to play on a higher level. I get it. But at the end of the day, we got to protect and take care of the ones that are here that want to stay here and be Bulldogs, man. And we love to have those guys stay. But ultimately, a lot of times they choose to leave because of the resources and the finances they're able to get at the next level.
Coach, thank you for that answer. It's a great answer, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless
you. And our next questions for Coach Barry come from Carlton Green. Let's see if we can get us. Still muted.
How you doing, Coach Barry?
Mr. Green, how you doing today, sir?
I'm with Bulldog News and Audio Productions. I'm a graduate of SCSU, and I also want to know, how do you explain your dash concept?
Love it, man. Dash, man. That's what our program is all about. You got to control your dash. So eventually these young men, I tell them all the time, especially, the beauty of our stadium, if you come a chance to see our stadium, obviously you've been there. It has all the championships. So there's 19 MEAC championships. And I tell our team every day, how do you want to be remembered? Okay, you look up there, that legacy has already been set. How do you want to be remembered with this 2025 team? And when we talk about that dash, you control that dash in the middle. You can't control, when you came in, and you don't know when you're going to leave, but you control that dash, and that D has an acronym for D, that's discipline. You gotta have discipline. As you see, a South Carolina State football team, we're gonna be disciplined. We're not gonna shoot ourselves in the foot. All right, so we're gonna have discipline. That's do right. That A is attitude, man. You gotta have an outstanding attitude. You have full control when you wake up in the morning, when your feet hit the ground, to have the right attitude. Do you think glass half empty or glass half full? Well, here in Bulldog Nation, we think about it being half full. And then sacrifice. Sacrifice is really what it comes down to is in a team sport. You can't talk about yourself. It's about the team. So you got to be able to sacrifice for something that you want. And then H is habits. Man doesn't decide his future. He decides his habits. And his habits decide his future. Usually if you got good habits, you're going to have a good future. Bad habits, bad future. So all in all, that's my dash philosophy. Obviously, I didn't come up with it. Joe Taylor is the first person that I heard speak that, legendary coach from Hampton and FAMU. And I really have bought into that process of controlling your dash.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Go Bulldogs.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Barry at this time. Thank you for joining us this morning and afternoon, and good luck this weekend.
Take care. Go Dogs.
South Carolina State will travel to South Carolina on Saturday, September 6th to play at William Bryce Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. on SEC Network and ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our final interview this morning.
Thanks so much, Elise. Let's go to Baltimore, Morgan State University, the leader of the Bears, Coach Damon Wilson. Hey, Coach, how you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, good evening, afternoon. Good afternoon, man. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Coach, I'm doing good. You went down to South Alabama, faced a real good South Alabama football team, and you did a great job. You come up short, but Coach, I'll tell you what, the Bears, great performance, Coach. You opened the season with a long road trip to face a very good FBS opponent. Let's talk about your evaluation of this season opening game and that contest in particular.
Well, we went out there and competed at a high level, played against a team that won a bowl game last year, but we did some things that we talked about we couldn't do to have a chance to win the ball game, and that's turnover. You can't turn the ball over. And we had 4 turnovers, and we had some penalties. So we did not show the discipline that we needed to show to have a chance to win the ball game. But the guys definitely competed at a high level. We made some corrections here this morning in the meetings, and looking forward to moving forward. But it was a good experience, good exposure for the guys, and those guys did a good job competing all in all.
You opened some eyes with an opening and an impressive 11-play, 80-yard scoring drive capped by a Jason Collins Jr. touchdown, but then the offense stalled until his second score late in the third quarter. What adjustments did you make and can be made to sustain that early success throughout the remainder of the ball game? And clearly you're going to have to do that.
Yeah, like every coach on the call this morning reference, first game of the season, a lot of unknowns. So, we were prepared for certain looks. They made some adjustments. We had to come back and kind of counter those adjustments. We came back out second half and had a very good drive offensively and scored the ball. And unfortunately, we gave our defense some short field to defend. And all in all, that ended up hurting us as far as throughout the game.
Okay, so this week, Coach, you face your crosstown rival Towson in the battle for Baltimore. After watching their game against Norfolk State, what areas do you think the Bears will have to focus on this week to prepare for such a big rivalry game as the battle for Baltimore?
I mean, Towson has 2 really good running backs, and their quarterback, young freshman, throwing the ball around a lot, man. They have some guys outside that can stretch the field vertically, and defensively, they're going to load their box up. They're going to try to make you stop the run. You got to throw the ball around to make sure you're running into run-friendly boxes. So we got some work to do. The good thing about it, we're here at home. It's our home opener, so I'm excited about that. I know the Bears will be out in support, and so we're looking forward to it.
There's no place like home, Coach. So hold on just for a minute. Thanks a lot for talking to me. Elise has some more questions from the media.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to our media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Wilson come from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill is inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Thank you, Elise. Wanted to ask you, Coach Wilson, in terms of your offense, pretty efficient when you were able to get into the end zone. I mean, you had 11-play drive, a 10-play drive, a 9-play drive throughout that game. It was a 10-point game into the second half. And so considering some of the things you had to deal with in terms of your travel arrangements, which are out of your control, but to keep the guys together, to develop that, and then come out to play at this level, particularly offensively, and showing some good things defensively, how do you feel as you move out of that game?
Well, it was a good showing. Ultimately, we fell short of our goal as far as winning the ball game, but it was a good showing. The guys did some great things up front really well, offensive line-wise. Kobe did a good job managing the game outside of the turnovers. We one drive in particular that stood out, drive right before halftime, minute 54 on the clock. We got one timeout, balls on the minus 26-yard line. We marched down the field and get to about the 20-yard line, end up throwing an interception. That's a drive where you want to come out going into the halftime with a score. Worst case, 3 points, but we end up having a turnover. And so that hurt us. Then we came out second half and defensively didn't get the stop, but then we were able to score offensively. So all in all, I said we showed Some flashes have been a really good football team, but there's a lot of things that we need to continue to get better at.
Let me move forward to the next matchup. Obviously, it was alluded to in the prelude. This is Townsend, a team in your backyard, if you would allow me to say. But it's unique in a situation or framework that they played a conference foe in their first matchup. How do you look into that matchup? They were pretty efficient, 9 of 17 on third down conversions. Talked about a little bit about the quarterback play in terms of how they were pretty efficient, but they were also able to run the ball. When you start looking and breaking down that film, I know a lot of things about yourself, but when you start to game plan, what does that look like when you're talking about this particular team after checking out the film from what they did the first week?
Physical football team, really big up front. The guys move around. Once again, they show you a number of looks defensively, but they're gonna pack the box to stop the run game. But this is a program that Morgan said we have not beat since 2009. And then that's that at some point that's enough is enough, and that's my deal with the guys this year. Enough is enough, and it's important for us to be prepared to be ready to rock and roll at our home field. With a home opener, but we're going to have our hands full. There's no easy week on this schedule, and Towson is definitely a very good opponent and coming off a big win against Norfolk last Thursday. But it was good to have an opportunity to see them play a conference foe, as you mentioned last week. Gave us a day or two extra to kind of break those guys down since we had a long flight to Alabama. So I feel really good about where we are game plan wise, but I'm quite sure they have some more wrinkles for us. But they're a good football team.
Thank you, Coach Wilson. I like that attitude. Enough is enough. I have to remember that as I move forward when I need to deal with some folks. Take care and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Wilson, Wayne Cartwright, the Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. So I want to ask you about Pete Shinnick, the play caller, right? Pete Shinnick, the play caller, and how do you guys think you guys need to work this week in preparations for his offensive scheme and setup?
Coach Pete has done a great job, even when he was down at West Florida. He's a guy that's really creative, has a really creative offensive mind. I'm fortunate to have a very good defensive coordinator that's creative as well. Coach Anton Sewell, it's his responsibility to have our defense, and our staff's responsibility to have a defense ready to rock and roll, to have answers for the different challenges that Coach will present to us. So I'm fortunate to have two coordinators in offense and defense, as well as about the special teams coordinator, Coach Sport. Those guys, they can coach too. They can scheme as well. So I'm looking forward to the matchup. They're excited about it. Once again, we know we have our hands full with regards to the different challenges, but I got some guys that's ready to rock and roll.
And then also, Coach, talk a little bit of evaluation of Kobe Masao, your quarterback, man. How would you evaluate him game one there against South Alabama?
Didn't do too bad, but like I said, you got to take away the turnovers. Clock management and turning the ball over, not protecting the ball when you're running the ball, not locking it when you're running the ball. That's something that we talked about, something that I'm not in support of at all. We know in order to win ball games, we have to protect the football, and that's his number one job. And he didn't do that at times Saturday, but by being on his second game starting here, I felt really good about his performance and his flashes that he did show.
And then lastly, Coach, I'll just kind of jump back to this week's game against Towson. You guys lost to them last year 14-9, and you know that you guys lost a lot of close games here over the last couple of years. What's been the mindset that you guys have had as a staff with your players to just try to shift the focus and shift the mindset of this program to really try to make this year to be the get over the hump year for you guys?
Just focus on the little things and focus on finishing. You can't worry about what happened last year. You can't worry about what happened yesterday. But at the end of the day, we have to control the day and get better each day. And that's something that we've talked about, But like I told you earlier, enough is enough. I mean, at some point in time, you got to put your foot down. And that's what we have to do as a ball club and be ready to rock and roll for this weekend's game.
Well, Coach, good to talk to you. Good luck against Towson this weekend. We'll definitely talk next week. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from James Hill.
Coach, I hope you and everyone in Baltimore are well. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, James. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball, what you would like to see get done that second quarter, and then just the defensive side of the ball.
We didn't align sometimes. That we look at the plays that they were able to make. We were aligned incorrectly, and also, like I said, we gave them short fields. One time on a punt return, and then you had a turnover. So they had maybe 3 or 4 possessions where they started on the plus side of the field, which isn't good. You know, now you're making the defense defend a shorter field, which isn't good at all. So you know, off defensively, just line up faster, making sure we make the right adjustments per the look that we're getting, and then offensively, make sure that the defense has at least an 80-yard field to defend. You know, and not put them in a disadvantage.
Coach, when you have a crosstown or a cross-state rivalries where a lot of the people overlap, they know each other, and they have that history and it's competitive. Just talk about that opportunity. Guys throw out the records, they line up, and they just really want to play hard. The intensity it can take to win that game.
Oh yeah, I mean, Towson is 3.5 miles from campus. A lot of our student athletes live in the same complexes and that sort of thing. So there are some relationships there. We're recruiting some of the same guys. So it's important for a number of reasons. And we want to be Baltimore's college football team. You know, and in order to do that, you must beat your crosstown rival. You know, you got the Ravens. Why not have the Bears right after that? And that's the mindset that I've had from day one. It's something that we can definitely do. And we want Baltimore to be behind us come Saturday.
All right, Coach. Have a great week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jack.
And our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Ray Rogers.
What's up, Coach? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ray. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, brother. Thank you. I know you already alluded to this, but I'm gonna set the stage for you because record enrollment at the school, friends and family weekend is gonna be rocking. You mentioned Townsend, it's gonna be a lot of people in the building. How do you set the tone early? Do you defer, get a stop, or do you want to hit them in the mouth and get that crowd into it so you can finally get over this hump that you've been talking about this whole time you've been the head coach at Morgan State?
I don't know. I decided the coin toss closer we get the game. You know, we had our first practice today. I'll see how the game go. I mean, how the week goes. See what we finalize from a coaching staff plan that we have for Saturday. Look at the weather, all that good stuff. So it's a number of factors that play into it. But I don't care if the offense or defense goes on the field first. We need to be ready to punch them in the mouth.
Appreciate you, Coach. Good luck.
Appreciate you, Ray.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Wilson at this time. Coach, thank you for joining us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Morgan State will host Towson on Saturday, September 6th at Hughes Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Kickoff time is set for 7 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. This concludes the first weekly MEAC Football Video Coaches Conference call presented by our great partners, Wells Fargo. Before the end of the conference, we would like to thank all that assisted and participated in today's video conference. The MEAC would also like to thank its corporate partners for their continued support of the conference and its Elite 8 member institutions. As a reminder, the next video conference is next Monday, September 8th at 10 a.m. For more information on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, visit meacsports.com and follow the MEAC on social media or at MEAC Sports on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Thank you for tuning in to this week's MEAC Football Coaches Video Football Conference call, and have a great football week.